Chapter 251. The Hope of the Tribespeople. Peaceful days always pass quickly, and in the blink of an eye, autumn arrived. End of August. Jiang Xuan walked through the vast fields, looking at the crops that had matured or were about to mature, feeling a sense of satisfaction and pride. As the population grew, the planting team became larger and more wasteland was cultivated. Without measurement tools, Jiang Xuan couldn't figure out exactly how much farmland the vine tribe had. Bamboo wheat was a new variety acquired this year through trade with the Black Teeth tribe. This wheat looks a lot like small bamboo, but with much broader leaves. After it bears ears, it somewhat resembles sorghum. Jiang Xuan picked a grain of bamboo wheat from a full ear, the surface green, placed it in his mouth and bit down, hearing a crunch as the kernel broke. Jiang Xuan chewed, nodding. Looks like this bamboo wheat is green. It won't turn yellow. It can be harvested. Gonsong stood beside Jiang Xuan, smiling. I think it's ripe too, so I'll lead the people to harvest this afternoon. Jiang Xuan nodded and said, I'll have people speed up weaving the reed mats, so if the weather is good, the harvested bamboo wheat can be sun-dried before being moved into the granary. Grain crops are troublesome in this way. They require a lot of effort to dry, or else they can't be stored for long and will get moldy. Root crops like round potatoes and stone eggs don't have this problem. At most, the dirt on them can be dried off before being stored in a warehouse or cellar. Last month, the vine tribe built 2 more large granaries, now just waiting for the new grain to be stored. Jiang Xuan was about to leave when he suddenly thought of something, turning back to say, by the way, select the best and fullest grains and vegetables to store. After the autumn harvest, the tribe will hold a great high priest ceremony. Hearing the words great high priest, Gonsong's eyes lit up. For the tribe people, the great high priest ceremony is the most important day of the year, more important than any new year in Jiang Xuan's past life. On this day, the entire tribe dresses in their finest clothes and prepares abundant offerings to worship the totem god. After the totem god enjoys the offerings, more ordinary tribesmen often become warriors, enhancing the tribe's overall strength. The tribesmen provide offerings and devout faith to the totem god, who, in turn, offers protection and strength to the tribesmen, benefiting both sides. Don't worry, leader. I'll make sure to select the best grains and vegetables as offerings to satisfy the vine god. Jiang Xuan nodded and then walked towards the new granaries. Outside the new granaries was a large flat area, set aside specifically as a drying ground. Right now, this flat land was piled high with reeds. The women from the tailoring workshop, along with men Jiang Xuan had reassigned from other places, were diligently weaving large reed mats. The southern wilderness is humid and rainy, making it infeasible to dry grain directly on the ground. Without cement, they couldn't harden the ground, so large amounts of reed mats were woven for drying the grain. Reed mats are comparatively clean and keep ground moisture at bay. Moreover, if it rains, they can be collected quickly. The southern wilderness is rainy, making drying grain rather troublesome. Often it needs to be dried for half a day, and upon seeing rain approach, it has to be collected again, which is very exhausting. Luckily, the drying season isn't long. It's only tiring during the autumn harvest. After that, the planting team is relatively free. With Fu Ling due to give birth soon, Feng Chao is temporarily in charge of the tailoring workshop, and naturally, the people weaving reed mats are under her command. Jiang Xuan approached Feng Chao and inquired, how many reed mats have been woven now? Feng Chao raised her head, wiping away the sweat almost dripping in her eyes, and replied, reporting to the leader, we have already woven more than 50 reed mats. Good. The planting team has already begun preparations for the autumn harvest. Make sure there are enough reed mats. Otherwise, the grain won't dry properly, leading to trouble. Feng Chao firmly responded, rest assured, leader, we will definitely weave enough reed mats to dry all the grain. Jiang Xuan nodded, saying, please work hard. After the autumn harvest, I'll reward each of you. Thank you, leader. After Feng Chao spoke, she continued weaving the reed mats, which was a very time-consuming task, so they had to work swiftly. Jiang Xuan looked at the half-finished and finished reed mats, not finding any issues. He was quite satisfied with this. Feng Chao's ability was indeed impressive to manage so many people effectively and maintain good quality control. Jiang Xuan then went to the breeding area, instructing De Jiao to select suitable livestock and poultry as offerings and take good care of them. De Jiao was well-versed in this matter and confidently agreed to it. Subsequently, Jiang Xuan visited the hunting team and fishing team, instructing them to seek suitable offerings as well. These teams quickly sprang into action, working hard for the tribe's great high pre-ceremony. That afternoon, the autumn harvest of the Vine tribe officially began. Regardless of whether they were tribesmen or captives, everyone participated in this busy autumn harvest. Everyone divided the work. Some are responsible for harvesting, some for stripping the grain from the stalks, others for transport, and others for drying. Though the autumn harvest was tiring, every face was filled with joyful smiles. Chapter 252. The Hope of the Tribe 2. Food is always the most important thing for the tribe's people. This year's harvest means the people of the Vine tribe don't need to worry about going hungry again. Even the captives, upon discovering the Vine tribe's abundant food supply, worked harder. Simultaneously, more people hoped to shed the identity of captives and truly joined the Vine tribe. Because in the Vine tribe, they saw hope for survival and a better life. For the tribe's people, hope is not those elusive dreams, but tangible food, clothing, houses, and a strong tribe that can shelter them. With these, they don't have to live a precarious life. They have expectations and hope for the future. On September 6th, after nearly 10 months of pregnancy, Fu Ling and Go Tung's child was finally about to be born. That night, Fu Ling was sleeping when she suddenly screamed, startling Go Tung awake from his dreams. What happened? What happened? Go Tung, aided by the firelight, saw the pain on Fu Ling's face. Quick, quick, get the witch. Our child seems to be coming. All right, hold on. I'll get the witch right away. Go Tung grabbed his clothes, then picked up a torch from the corner of the room, lighting it as he ran outside, hastily putting on clothes. He rushed towards the bamboo forest, but was stopped by the guard team as soon as he entered. The Vine tribe's bamboo forest not only has an altar, but is also home to the chief and witch, guarded very strictly, especially at night. Captain Go Tung, where are you going so late? Fu Ling is about to have a baby. I'm going to get the witch for help. Upon hearing this, the guard team warriors dared not delay and immediately let 2 warriors accompany Go Tung into the bamboo forest, arriving outside Qi Shao's courtyard. Knock, knock, knock. Which witch? Goating knocked on the door, frantically, shouting anxiously. Coming. Inside, Qi Shao immediately got out of bed and opened the door. Warriors knocking on the door at midnight usually means something urgent happened. Creak. The courtyard gate opened, and Go Tung immediately explained the situation. Wait a moment, I'll go inside to fetch something. Qi Shao hastily returned to the bamboo house, lit a large candle, took some medicine, and then, protected by the guard team warriors, ran towards Go Tung's house. In another courtyard, Jiang Xuan heard the commotion and got up to follow them. Once outside Go Tung's residence, Qi Shao entered with a female warrior, while Jiang Xuan, Go Tung, and others had to stay outside. The tribespeople's bodies are relatively strong, and Fu Ling had already become a one-color warrior long ago, generally not facing problems when giving birth. Children are frequently born in the tribe, and Qi Shao has delivered many. She is quite experienced. Jiang Xuan even occasionally heard some women talk about how, before coming to the Vine tribe, they delivered their own babies quite fiercely. Fu Ling's painful cries came from inside the house, while Go Tung paced anxiously outside, unsure of what to do with his hands. It's his first time being a father, a rather complicated feeling. Jiang Xuan grabbed Go Tung, saying, Don't worry, with the witch here, everything will be fine. That's right, with the witch here, everything will be fine. Go Tung repeated twice, trying to give himself confidence, but still couldn't calm down. This was a very grueling process, with time seeming to slow down at moments like this. Maybe a few minutes passed, maybe more than 10 minutes, and a clear newborn cry suddenly came from inside. Chief, the baby is born. It's born. Gotong was so excited he almost jumped up, his emotions extremely heightened. After a while, a female warrior came out congratulating Gotong. Congratulations, Leader Gotong, it's a big, healthy boy. Surely a brave warrior in the future. Is Fu Ling all right? Yes, she's okay. The witch is with her. That's good, that's good. After a moment, Qi Xiao came out and reminded Gotong of some important things. Gotong nodded like a pecking chicken and couldn't wait to see the child. The baby was wrapped in a soft beast hide. Having just been born, his little face was red and wrinkled. Gotong cautiously picked up the baby, unsure of how to hold him. Soon Gotong said, "He's so small and a bit ugly. Let me see." Lying in bed, Fu Ling was very tired but also eager to see her child. Gotong carefully squatted down, letting Fu Ling see the baby by the firelight. After a moment, Fu Ling said somewhat sadly, "Indeed, a bit ugly." The female warrior next to them chimed in, "Newborns are always like this. In a few days, his face will open up and he'll look pretty." Only then did Gotong and Fu Ling breathe a sigh of relief. Who doesn't want their children to be good-looking? Busy holding the baby, Jiang Xuan and Qi Xiao returned to their respective courtyards to continue sleeping, as it was still the middle of the night. The true second generation of the Vine tribe was born, which made Jiang Xuan quite happy. Gotong's child and other children born in the Vine tribe were the future hopes of the tribe. The next day, Gotong excitedly came over to have Jiang Xuan name the child. At the mention of naming, Jiang Xuan felt his head spin and suggested Gotong ask Qi Xiao instead. Gotong personally hunted an animal, carrying it to Qi Xiao's courtyard, both to thank Qi Xiao for delivering Fu Ling and to ask her to give the child a name. Qi Xiao, the witch of the Vine tribe, had named countless times before, quite experienced. She pondered for a moment, her gaze sweeping over a pile of herbs, then said to Gotong, "Let's call him Tiandong." Tiandong, Tiandong, that's a beautiful name. Thank you, witch. Gotong murmured it twice, and then happily left with the name. It sounds pleasant. Qi Xiao smilingly nodded, accepting the hunted animal as a token of thanks. Gotong rushed home, proudly announcing the witch's chosen name to Fu Ling and their acquaintances. Soon, everyone knew that Gotong's son was named Tiandong. Jiang Xuan also gifted them some sugar and salt, congratulating them on the child's birth. The autumn harvest of the Vine tribe continued, with the spacious 3 large granaries gradually filled up. During this period, Jiang Xuan led a team to the ruins of the Rock Sheep tribe to harvest this year's insect wax. Due to lack of management, this year's insect wax yield was significantly lower than in previous years. However, the Vine tribe's wax tree forest had already taken shape, and given another year or two, when those wax trees grew, they could gather large quantities of eggs from waxworms for breeding in the Vine tribe's wax tree forest. At that time, the insect wax yield will surely surpass previous years. Southern Wilderness Frog Tribe. Croak. In the big pond, the giant frogs were feasting on bugs, letting out loud croaks. During the autumn, most insects were reaching the end of their lives, and those flying bugs were also slowing down. This was a grand feast for the giant frogs. Every day, the giant frogs would devour a multitude of bugs, gaining weight to cope with energy consumption during hibernation. Though during their time in the frog tribe, due to unusual weather, these giant frogs had never hibernated since birth. But the instinct imprinted in their blood urged them, upon sensing the southern wilderness's weather change, to begin preparing for hibernation at once. Beside the big pond, thickets of brambles and shrubs had already been cleared out. Frog tribe members erected numerous wooden huts on the little flat ground and gentle slopes by the pond. This remote, desolate place finally began to resemble a proper tribe. In the morning, the frog tribe which stood by the pond, speaking to the nearby chief Huameng, "The weather is getting colder, so hurry and store food. Or else, come winter, with the giant frogs hibernating, our tribespeople will starve." Huameng replied, "Don't worry, witch. I will lead the warriors to gather all the food we can from the vicinity." The witch nodded and asked, "Have there been any updates from the Vine tribe?" Huameng shook his head and said, "We're too remote here. can't even catch wanderers. To locate the vine tribe, we probably have to search farther away. Then we'll have to wait until winter passes to search again. The witch closed her eyes, feeling the chill in the air. Haven't seen snow for many years. Almost forgot what it's like. Huameng said, we'll see it this year. The two stood beside the pond for a moment. Afterward, Huameng led the frog tribe warriors and giant frogs into the forest to hunt and gather, storing food for the winter. Chapter 253, Crossing the River by the Vine Wall. September 17th. After more than half a month of effort, the busy autumn harvest has finally come to an end. All the grains, after being dried, have been piled into the granary. The full warehouse of food gives a particularly reassuring feeling. The people of the Vine tribe can finally put their minds at ease. At the same time, the offerings needed for the great high priest ceremony are basically prepared. There are various grains and vegetables, large fish, livestock, poultry, wild beasts, and more, so abundantly rich. September 18th, the day of the great high priest ceremony, has finally arrived. At dawn, as soon as the sky began to brighten, the entire Vine tribe was bustling. Level the uneven areas of the ground. The great high priest ceremony will be held at noon. Let's hurry up a bit. Beside the altar, the warriors of the Vine tribe were busily working with urgency. During the great high priest ceremony, all tribe members must stand in front of the altar, so only the bamboo in the middle part of the bamboo forest could be cut down to clear out a large, relatively flat area. This task has been in progress for several days by the warriors of the Vine tribe, and is basically completed now. Beside the altar, Qi Xiao was using fresh beast blood to paint totem patterns on the totem pole. Since beast blood easily congeals and changes color, it is necessary to use fresh beast blood to paint on the day of the ceremony. Qi Xiao, following Jiang Xuan's suggestion, used a bamboo brush to continuously stir the blood as it flowed into the pottery basin and added a small amount of saline to the beast blood. This way, the beast blood won't congeal so easily and can be painted for a long time. Jiang Xuan was also helping. Not only did the totem pole need to have totem patterns painted, but the altar did as well. Because time was tight, the two had to speed up. After Jiang Xuan finished painting a set of totem patterns, he carefully examined it for a moment and nodded in satisfaction. Indeed, practice makes perfect. It looks much better than before. After appreciating his work for a while, Jiang Xuan continued painting, needing to cover all around the altar with totem patterns. When Jiang Xuan and Qi Xiao finished all the totem patterns, the sun was already hanging high in the sky. The warriors had also finished leveling the ground. At this moment, Gonsong from the planting team brought over the prepared grains and vegetables, placing them neatly into the large cauldron on the altar. The animal breeding team also brought over prepared various livestock and poultry, binding their feet and placing them in front of the altar. The hunting team and fishing team also arrived to deliver the offerings they had prepared. To prevent captives from causing trouble or escaping during the ceremony, they were all escorted to the fields in front of the Vine tribe. About over 100 captives from the Jackal tribe, due to their good behavior over more than half a year, were permitted to participate in the ceremony and become real members of the Vine tribe. This group of captives also set an example for other captives, letting them know that as long as they work hard, they can shed the captive identity and join the Vine tribe, leading a good life. Once everything was ready, the people of the Vine tribe gathered their belongings and went to make their final preparations before the ceremony. They needed to cleanse their bodies thoroughly and then don their finest beast hide clothing, adorn themselves with the largest and most impressive beast tooth necklaces and beast horns that they believed in, and paint totem patterns on their faces. Both adults and children needed to do this. When the sun rose to midday, marking the 4th year of the Vine tribe, the autumn great high priest ceremony formally began. On the stone mountain above, the light mist that enveloped it gradually scattered, and the divine vine began to emit a green divine glow. Ja, ja, ja. Controlled by the divine vine, the tall vine wall began to move once again, countless vines growing and weaving together, sealing off the 3 openings, preventing anyone from causing disruption or intrusion. Groups of Vine tribe people dressed in all sorts of beast-hide clothing, adorned with various accessories, arrived in droves at the cleared area in front of the altar. Jiang Xuan and Qi Xiao were also present. Jiang Xuan was wearing the latest design of beast-hide clothing this year, the one with large pockets. He also had a very large beast horn hanging at his waist, taken from the giant horned beast. The giant horned beast, with an enormous physique and formidable attack power, is no weaker than fierce beasts. Wearing the beast horn from a giant horned beast reflects Jiang Xuan's powerful strength. Once the witch and the leader appeared, the tribe people ceased talking, ready to await the commencement of the sacrificial ceremony. Jiang Xuan walked to the altar and glanced at the sky. Feeling that the time was about right, he nodded towards a nearby warrior. That warrior clasped a horn made from a wild ox horn in both hands, placing it to his lips and blowing with all his might. "Woo-woo!" Another warrior shouted loudly. The sacrificial ceremony officially begins. Jiang Xuan waved his hand and said, "Offer the sacrifices." The warriors, long prepared, lifted all the offerings and took turns ascending the altar. A warrior stood in the center of the altar, holding a sharp stone knife made from premium stone, responsible for bloodletting the sacrifices. As the offerings increased, the altar became stained red with blood. Once all the offerings were stacked up, the warriors all descended, and Qi Xiao began to step up onto the altar. Standing atop the altar, she gazed up at the divine vine, spread her arms wide, and began chanting an incantation to invoke the gods. Tafkalada Aijitsani. Buzz! On the stone mountain above, the divine vine burst forth with a terrifying radiance. A fearsome divine power surged like a vast ocean, raging wildly. Vines grew rapidly, exquisite like emerald carvings, translucent and radiant under the sunlight. Chapter 254. Crossing the river with the vine wall 2. Around the altar, countless roots burst from the ground, rising upward to envelop the entire altar, except for the spot where Qi Xiao stood, where the roots deftly avoided. Soon after, the roots retracted underground once more, and all the offerings and beast blood on the altar vanished, leaving only fragments of bone and bone powder. Those participating in the ritual for the first time were stunned to the point where they couldn't close their mouths. After the divine vine enjoyed the offerings, Qi Xiao began chanting the blessing spell once more. SSSHHH. Countless vines extended overhead above the vine tribe members, showering them with droplets of vibrant green divine liquid. The green divine liquid was quickly absorbed upon contact with the people, benefiting all members of the vine tribe. Those who hadn't become warriors found some of them transforming into warriors. Those already warriors found their strength growing stronger. The mood of all the tribe members was uplifted, especially those who had just joined the vine tribe, who felt like shouting out to express their joy. Among them, separate thick vines dangled down above Jiang Xuan and Qi Xiao to enhance their power. On the altar, with the infusion of divine power, Qi Xiao's eyes became even more captivating, and her entire aura underwent a significant transformation, commanding instant awe from anyone who laid eyes on her. Meanwhile, Jiang Xuan's body was fortified with divine power, his strength now incredibly close to that of a five-color warrior, ready to break through at any moment. With the vines retracting, Jiang Xuan clenched his fist, feeling the terrifying strength now hidden within him. Soon, all the vines retreated back to Stone Mountain. This ritual gave the vine tribe over 100 warriors, enhancing the tribe's overall strength. However, the divine vine's blessings were not yet complete. Rumble. Underground, the roots of the divine vine crazily spread, almost covering the entire territory of the vine tribe. Swish, swish. Countless roots wrapped around the pests like snakes, insects, and rodents within the vine tribe, absorbing them as nutrients. This ensured that the tribe's houses would be free of insect damage and more durable, and that the tribe's food would be safe from rodents or insects. This was not all. On the outskirts of the vine tribe, the towering vine wall was again infused with copious amounts of divine power, reviving all the thick vines. Rumble! The walls of vines extended eastward, spanning the Feiyu River, rooting on the opposite bank and continuing to grow forward. Oh my! In the fields, all the captives witnessing the awe-inspiring sight exclaimed in shock. The 10-meter-high vine wall radiated green light, with its new roots plunging deep into the earth to absorb nutrients while quickly spreading forward, ultimately encircling the edge of the vine tribe's secondary settlement. From a bird's-eye view, the vine wall resembled a green fortress wall, connecting end to end in a giant circle, encompassing the entire territory of the vine tribe within. Even the old witch, standing by and observing, exclaimed in wonder, "Truly spectacular." The old witch harbored a tinge of envy for the vine tribe, knowing full well how many enemies such a towering vine wall could fend off and how many troubles it could prevent. For tribal people, what matters most? A sense of security. Undoubtedly, this massive vine wall provided a strong sense of security to the members of the vine tribe. Thank the vine god. On the altar, Qi Shao led the thankfulness to the vine god. Thank the vine god. All the members of the vine tribe knelt toward the vine god in heartfelt gratitude. On Stone Mountain, the divine vine swayed gently, gradually withdrawing its divine power. On the towering vine wall, doorways appeared to the east, south, west, and north. These doorways were for the vine tribe members to enter and exit. In the future, the vine tribe could concentrate its defensive forces near the doorways and patrol the rest in regular intervals. With this, the great high priest ritual concluded, and on Stone Mountain, the divine vine's green divine light withdrew, leaving a mist that shrouded the mountain once more, its full form obscured. After the great high priest ritual ended, the captives were returned to their original housing. Meanwhile, those who had shed their captive status and even become warriors could move to new houses, enjoying the same treatment as other vine tribe members from that point forward. During this great high priest ritual, even the captives witnessed the divine vine's miracles firsthand, prompting subtle changes in their mindset. Their former beliefs had long since crumbled, though they had been unwilling to admit it. Now, many have witnessed the power of the vine god and have seen some captives transform through their own efforts to become members of the vine tribe, living a good life. Their resistance to the vine tribe gradually dissipated. Who wants to remain a captive forever? Who doesn't want to live well? Although they didn't speak it out loud, by the end of today, many captives already had the idea of working hard to join the vine tribe. Everyone has a tendency to follow the crowd. As more people desire to join the vine tribe, they will eventually abandon their inner resistance and integrate into the vine tribe. September 20th. The weather is getting colder, the chilly wind starts to whistle, and winter will arrive soon. The hunting team has begun to venture out more frequently to secure more prey. Meanwhile, those tribes migrating from the western wilderness are also hunting crazily, stockpiling food for winter. Some tribes' hunting teams had encounters with the vine tribe's hunting team in the forest, and inevitably, conflicts arose over prey. After a few skirmishes between the vine tribe's hunting team and other tribes' hunting teams, some warriors were injured or killed. Jiang Xuan decided to personally lead 2 hunting teams to go hunting, so as not to be at a disadvantage when encountering other tribes. In the dense forest, Jiang Xuan rode on moonlight, moving slowly. It was now late autumn, and occasionally, withered yellow leaves would whirl down from the trees. Behind him, over 200 tribal warriors of the vine tribe followed closely on various mounts. Additionally, there were a dozen tribal warriors responsible for scouting ahead and searching for prey. Swish, swish, swish. Not long after, a warrior ran back quickly to report to Jiang Xuan. "Chief, there's a herd of wild oxen ahead." Jiang Xuan perked up and waved his hand behind him, saying, "Spread out and encircle them from both sides." Behind him, Gotung and Shi Qiu nodded, and each led a group of warriors to the left and right. Jiang Xuan still rode on moonlight, leading 30 heavy cavalry riding black wind rhinoceroses, moving forward slowly. The black-winged rhinoceroses were large and noisy. They couldn't advance too far ahead, or the prey would flee upon sensing them. Therefore, when they got close to where the prey was, Jiang Xuan and the warriors with him dismounted from the black-winged rhinoceroses, leaving them to wait in place. They each took their weapons and silently moved to encircle the herd of wild oxen. The wild oxen were very alert, grazing while listening to the surroundings, occasionally lifting their heads to check for any disturbances. Moo! Suddenly, one of the wild oxen sensed something amiss and bellowed. Hood, hood, hood. The herd of wild oxen immediately stopped grazing and started running. Woo, woo, woo. From both sides of the forest, the Vine Tribe's 2 hunting teams charged out, some shooting arrows, some throwing spears, and in the blink of an eye, 5 wild oxen toppled over. Under the siege of over 200 warriors, the wild oxen couldn't escape, falling one after another. Bang! Jiang Xuan rushed at one of the wild oxen and surprisingly toppled the massive creature, pressing down its head as a stone knife made of fine materials pierced into its neck. The wild oxen struggled frantically, but couldn't break free from Jiang Xuan's restraint, eventually losing its life. Phew! Jiang Xuan stood up, wiping the blood off himself, and said to the other warriors, "Tie up all these wild oxen, and we'll have the black-winged rhinoceroses carry them back later." The paths in the forest are hard to traverse, and if the warriors carried the game themselves, they'd move very slowly. With the black-winged rhinoceroses' help, it would be much faster. Yes, Gotung and the others immediately took out ropes to bind the wild oxen. Iya! At this moment, a loud bird cry suddenly echoed from the sky. It was Tang Yuan, who had come out with Jiang Xuan, warning him. Whoosh! Before Jiang Xuan could warn the others, an arrow shot through the air, aiming at him. Jiang Xuan reacted swiftly, immediately dodging the arrow while shouting loudly. Take cover! The Vine Tribe's warriors, hearing the shout, quickly found places to hide. Chapter 255, Conflict. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dozens of arrows shot like lightning towards the warriors of the Vine Tribe. Although they dodged as quickly as possible, a few were still hit, letting out screams of pain. Charge! Take their prey away! From the forest opposite, someone shouted loudly, followed by hundreds of tribal warriors rushing forward with a chaotic roar, aiming at the bull captured by the Vine Tribe. However, the bull was quite large and heavy. To take them, they would first have to defeat the warriors of the Vine Tribe, or at least drive them off. Flap, flap, flap. A group of bright green giant mantises spread their wings, flew over the heads of these tribal warriors, and amazingly charged ahead of them. These giant mantises were over a meter long, with forelimbs like 2 serrated scythes, making them incredibly intimidating. Although these giant mantises couldn't be used as mounts, their combat power was undeniable. Crunch! A tree branch blocked the path of one giant mantis, and with a swift flash of its scythe-like forelimb, the branch broke off and fell to the ground. Quickly, these giant mantises reached the top of the Vine Tribe warriors and launched their attack. One warrior's shoulder was sliced open by the forelimbs of a giant mantis, creating a bone-deep wound from which blood gushed forth. If not for the tough beast-hide clothing he wore, his entire arm might have been chopped off. Other Vine Tribe warriors were also under attack, and many were injured. The Mantis Tribe is one of the tribes that migrated from the western wilderness. These giant mantises migrated along with the Mantis Tribe. Their lifespan is similar to that of giant dragonflies. They die off entirely after winter snowfall. But before they die, their combat power remains very formidable. Bang! Jiang Xuan used his bone spear like a club, smashing one giant mantis to the ground with broken bones and tendons. However, more giant mantises were already coming, and even though Jiang Xuan was strong, it was impossible to eliminate all of them instantly. Moreover, tribal warriors of the Mantis Tribe were already charging in. Soon they'd have to face attacks from both the giant mantises and the Mantis Tribe warriors. Tang Yuan! Jiang Xuan shouted towards the sky. Chirp! Tang Yuan descended from the sky, and its massive wings swept a mighty gust of wind, swaying many of the giant mantises erratically. As Tang Yuan swept past, it not only scattered the group of giant mantises, but also caught one in its mouth, gave it a few shakes, and swallowed it whole. With Tang Yuan's appearance, it became much harder for those giant mantises to attack the warriors of the Vine Tribe again. By now, the frontline Vine Tribe warriors had already engaged in combat with the Mantis Tribe warriors. Tweet! Jiang Xuan blew a whistle, and the crescent moon immediately ran towards where the sound came from in the forest. Thump, thump, thump. 30 adult black wind rhinoceroses also ran along, their massive frames thundering over the ground, shaking the earth underfoot. When the crescent moon reached Jiang Xuan, he leaped onto its back and shouted, "Heavy cavalry warrior, follow me." In the crowd, 30 heavy cavalry warriors of 2 colors or more rushed towards these black-winged rhinoceroses and climbed onto their backs. Kill! Jiang Xuan, holding the bone spear, rode the crescent moon straight towards the warriors of the Mantis Tribe, killing a few giant mantises along the way. 31 black-winged rhinoceroses charged together with immense momentum, and the warriors of the Vine Tribe ahead made way, scaring the warriors of the Mantis Tribe out of their wits. Bang! The crescent moon charged past, and a Mantis Tribe warrior unable to dodge was pierced by the crescent moon's horn and flew off, seemingly beyond saving. Splat! A 2-color Mantis Tribe warrior was speared by Jiang Xuan's bone spear and dragged forward a short distance, splattering blood everywhere. Many Mantis Tribe warriors were either knocked away, trampled by the rhinoceroses, or stabbed by bone spears. Not a single one could withstand these terrifying black-winged rhinoceroses. Screams rang out consecutively, as the Mantis Tribe warriors had never encountered such formidable heavy cavalry before. Soon they were routed. Retreat! Retreat! The leader of the Mantis Tribe shouted in terror while running away first. With the leader running, how could the Mantis Tribe warriors have any fighting spirit left? They all turned and fled. Many giant mantises had been eaten by Tang Yuan, and the rest flapped their wings to escape alongside the Mantis Tribe warriors. The Vine Tribe warriors were about to chase, but Jiang Xuan stopped them. Don't chase, rescue first. The Vine Tribe warriors reluctantly stopped and began to apply medicine and bandage the wounded. This time, the Vine Tribe lost 8 warriors, with over a dozen severely injured and countless others wounded. Of course, the Mantis Tribe lost even more, but they had already run away. When the Vine Tribe warriors went hunting, they always carried some healing medicine, which came in handy now. Under Jiang Xuan's command, the severely injured were treated first, then carried back with makeshift stretchers made of ropes and wooden sticks. All the prey were tied to the backs of the black-winged rhinoceroses, carried by their immense strength. The bodies of fallen Vine Tribe warriors weren't abandoned either. All were carried back to the tribe. Under Jiang Xuan's leadership, they began to head back. Chapter 256, Conflict 2. Although we caught quite a lot of prey this time, the loss and injury of so many people left everyone's hearts heavy, and the atmosphere on the road was extremely oppressive. The primordial world is like this. To survive, you fight against heaven, against beasts, against people. Casualties are common. Only those with both strength and luck can live longer than others. After returning to the tribe, all the severely injured were carried to Chief Shao for treatment, and the old which came to help upon hearing the news. Leader, what happened? Nanxing saw the row of corpses in front of the altar and the silent warriors and anxiously asked Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan replied in a low voice, "Encountered a strange tribe that wanted to seize our prey, fought a battle." Nanxing clenched his fist, wanted to say something, but felt powerless. He is the head of the guard team. Unless a tribal war breaks out, he must constantly stay in the tribe to defend it. Jiang Xuan patted Nanxing's back, saying, "Don't worry, we will avenge them." Jiang Xuan stood up, looking at the row of corpses. If we want the tribe to be stable, if we want the clansmen to be safe, we must not be afraid of fighting. We must repay blood with blood, a tooth for a tooth, fight to earn a fierce reputation, making others fear our Vine Tribe's totem pattern. Before winter's arrival, before the Vine God slumbers, while the large dragonflies are still around, We will annihilate the tribe that dared to strike against us, avenging our clansmen." Jiang Xuan's words made Nanxing's blood boil, and he exclaimed excitedly, "Leader, if we go to battle, make sure to take me." Jiang Xuan nodded, saying, "All right." At this moment, a warrior brought 8 large beast hides to wrap the bodies according to tribal customs, and then take them to the north slope of the tribe for burial. This slope already has over 100 earthen graves, all belonging to deceased members of the Vine tribe. As the soil began to be filled, cries echoed across the slope. The families of the deceased were heartbroken. Jiang Xuan comforted the deceased families and promised revenge for the warriors. After the funeral, Jiang Xuan went to Qi Shao's courtyard. With Qi Shao and the old witch's efforts, the lives of the severely injured were saved, but some would be permanently disabled. Jiang Xuan comforted them. "Do not fear. You have bled for the tribe, and the tribe will take care of you for the rest of your lives, never abandoning you." Leader, the severely injured choked up, their biggest fear being useless after disability and abandoned by the tribe. "Recover well. The tribe will need you again." Leader, "We will definitely recover well and continue to serve the tribe." The fighting spirit in the severely injured was reignited. "Good, I'll await you." After comforting the severely injured, Jiang Xuan found Qi Shao. Qi Shao was washing her hands with a green medicinal juice, something she did before and after tending to the wounded, part of the witch doctor's experience. Jiang Xuan guessed that this medicinal juice likely had antibacterial effects to prevent secondary infection of wounds. "Sister, I'm planning to take revenge on that tribe." Jiang Xuan shared his intentions with Qi Shao, that the purpose of fighting was to reduce unnecessary wars in the future. After hearing, Qi Shao nodded and said, "Since you have decided, then fight. Our Vine tribe can no longer always retaliate after being bullied. I'll start searching for that tribe right away, gather intelligence, and strive to eliminate them before the snow falls." After conferring with Qi Shao, Jiang Xuan hurriedly went out. That tribe has flying large mantises. It's best to annihilate them while the giant dragonflies still have fighting strength. Time is quite tight as the weather grows colder. Jiang Xuan returned to the courtyard, packed a few things, and prepared to ride Tang Yuan to locate the tribe that raises large mantises. Leader. Just then, an unexpected person came running hurriedly. "Feng Chao, do you have something to tell me?" Jiang Xuan stood next to Tang Yuan, looking at Feng Chao in confusion. Feng Chao, while panting, said, I can find that tribe. Take me with you." Jiang Xuan was a bit incredulous. Although after the great high priest, Feng Chao's strength reached the level of two-colored warrior, the tribe had many two-colored warriors, unless she had special skills. Knowing Jiang Xuan's doubts, Feng Chao explained, "After autumn, many wanderers gathered outside our tribe's vine wall. They came from many tribes. Upon returning from hunting, I heard you were attacked by a tribe with large mantises, so I found those wanderers, gave them some benefits, and got information about that tribe from one of the wanderers. Every autumn is when tribal wars are most frequent. To obtain more food for winter, they must fight. Especially this year, with many tribes migrating from the western wilderness, the conflicts are more intense. The tribe that wins the war can harvest more food to last through winter. The tribe that loses the war either gets annihilated or faces massive starvation among clansmen when winter comes due to lack of food. At such times, large numbers of wanderers often appear. These wanderers also know they may die when winter comes, so they gather around relatively powerful tribes. Even if they can't join, they can find a relatively safe environment to survive. Powerful tribes generally clear out threatening beasts, fierce beasts, and dangerous plants. Chapter 257. Conflict 3. These wanderers are often despised and disliked because they consume food near the tribe. However, Feng Chao thought about using these wanderers to gather information, a strategy that surprised Jiang Xuan. "Where's that wanderer?" Jiang Xuan asked. "Still outside the tribe. I asked him to wait there." Feng Chao knew Jiang Xuan would want to meet the wanderer, so she had him wait in advance with a guard team warrior watching over him. "Take me to see him." "All right." Jiang Xuan asked Tang Yuan to wait. then followed Feng Chao towards the north gate of the tribe. They passed through the gate of the vine wall and arrived in the forest outside the wall. A distance from a gate, there was a group of wanderers who had built simple wooden houses to prepare for winter here. Among them was a wanderer standing under a big tree, occasionally glancing towards the gate, looking somewhat helpless. Next to the wanderer stood a warrior from the Vine Tribe's guard team, keeping watch. When Feng Chao appeared, the wanderer's eyes lit up, but upon seeing Jiang Xuan beside Feng Chao, he looked noticeably fearful. Feng Chao walked up to the wanderer and said, "The leader is here. Tell him everything you know." The wanderer nodded and then began to tell Jiang Xuan about the situation of the Mantis tribe. The Mantis tribe is one of the small tribes that migrated from the western wilderness and currently resides in the forest north of the Vine tribe. The Mantis tribe consists of about 1,000 people and raises many large mantises, exhibiting strong combat power. The Wanderers tribe also migrated from the western wilderness to the southern wilderness, but not long ago was wiped out by the Mantis tribe. This is why he has some knowledge about the Mantis tribe. So, can you find a Mantis tribe directly? I can. The wanderer was obviously nervous in front of Jiang Xuan, speaking haltingly. Would you be willing to take us to the Mantis tribe? The wanderer hesitated. After his tribe was destroyed, the terrifying large mantises left an indelible scar in his mind, making him dread the thought of seeing them again. Jiang Xuan knew what he was thinking and said, "Don't worry, I won't let you face any danger. If successful, I can even let you join the Vine tribe." Really? The wanderer's eyes lit up. Joining the Vine tribe would greatly increase his chances of surviving the winter. Of course, Jiang Xuan affirmed. "All right, I'll go." To survive, the wanderer decided to take a risk. That's right. Jiang Xuan took out a bone whistle and blew it a few times. Soon, Tang Yuan flew out from within the tribe and landed on a clearing. The nearby wanderers scattered quickly, fearing that such a large bird might eat people. "Let's go." Jiang Xuan climbed on a Tang Yuan's back with Feng Chao and the trembling wanderer. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Tang Yuan suddenly kicked with its claws and then flapped its wings to ascend. Oh my! Having never flown before, the wanderer crouched low on Tang Yuan's back, clenching the feathers tightly, trembling all over. "Don't be afraid, you won't fall off." Jiang Xuan chuckled, but the wanderer still dared not lift his head, and his legs went weak each time he glanced down. Feng Chao was also experiencing her first flight, but her performance was much better than the wanderer's. Though scared inside, she stubbornly sat like Jiang Xuan and occasionally glanced down, forcing herself to adapt to the sensation. Tang Yuan swiftly flew northward. Chapter 258, Discovered. North of the Vine tribe, within a primitive forest. Flap, flap, flap. A large praying mantis unfolded its wings, flew a circle in the forest, and finally found a large spider. It landed on a branch, then slowly climbed towards the large spider from the back of the branch. When it reached beneath the large spider, it silently crawled to the side, then suddenly attacked, its jagged front limbs instantly grabbing the spider. The large spider struggled desperately, but it was in vain, as the praying mantis's front limbs had already sliced through its body. The praying mantis opened its mandibles and began to feast greatly. Cry! At this moment, a cry from a raptor came from afar, frightening the praying mantis so much that it shivered and abandoned the spider, spreading its wings to flee towards the tribe. This large praying mantis had participated in the battle yesterday. The cry of Tang Yuan was a nightmare for the mantises who had been in that battle. In the distance, above the forest, Tang Yuan was flying rapidly. On Tang Yuan's back, Jiang Xuan asked the wanderer, "Do you know where the Mantis tribe is?" In fact, Tang Yuan had already circled the area twice but still hadn't found the Mantis tribe. Because the forest was too dense, the Mantis tribe, unlike the Vine tribe, did not clear land for planting. The dense primitive forest obscured their houses, making it difficult to see from the sky. It should be around here. The wanderer used to travel on foot and, after being taken into the sky by Tang Yuan, could only judge directions by feeling, unable to locate the mantis tribe as directly as he could on the ground. Moreover, he was acrophobic, so he didn't dare continuously look at the ground. Feng Chao said, "Leader, give him a little more time. If it doesn't work out, we'll go down to the ground." Jiang Xuan nodded helplessly and instructed Tang Yuan to continue flying forward. Soon, the wanderer suddenly saw a mountain ahead. Near the top, there was a huge rock with a relatively flat surface. With bright eyes, the wanderer said, "I recognize that mountain. The mantis tribe is in the forest beside it. Let's go and see." Jiang Xuan's spirits lifted, but he didn't have Tang Yuan fly directly over the mantis tribe. Instead, as they were approaching the mantis tribe's territory, they landed on the ground. The totem god of the mantis tribe could fly, and if Tang Yuan flew directly over the mantis tribe, they might encounter danger. Standing back on the ground, the wanderer's legs were still trembling, clearly not yet recovered from the fear of heights. Seeing the wanderer in that state, Jiang Xuan knew he couldn't rely on him, so he had the wanderer stay in place, taking Feng Chao to the mantis tribe's habitat. The vast primitive forest with ancient trees towering and old vines everywhere. It was already late autumn. Many insects were nearing the end of their lives, but still chirping loudly. It didn't take Jiang Xuan and Feng Chao long to see the bark of a large tree carved with the mantis tribe's totem pattern. This was an image of a large, menacing mantis. Triangular head, large eyes, side-like front limbs, and a pair of wings with very distinct features. "It really is here." Jiang Xuan continued forward, treading lightly with caution. Suddenly, on a large tree ahead, a large praying mantis hidden among the leaves discovered them. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The praying mantis's wings vibrated rapidly, creating a peculiar sound. This was a signal from the praying mantis, and soon, all the praying mantises nearby began vibrating their wings. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. This peculiar sound formed a large wave, making quite a commotion. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Within the mantis tribe, a warrior shouted loudly. Then the entire tribe was in an uproar, many warriors grabbing weapons and rushing out. "Leader, we've been discovered." Feng Chao nervously watched the large praying mantises ahead. Jiang Xuan's expression also changed. He didn't expect these large mantises to be able to give a warning. "Run!" Jiang Xuan took Feng Chao and turned to run. Any delay and they would be surrounded. Flap, flap, flap. Hundreds of large praying mantises immediately spread their wings and chased after them, creating a terrifying scene. Whoosh! Jiang Xuan pulled out a short spear from his back and threw it behind him. Thump, thump. The short spear, carrying terrifying force, pierced through two large mantises in quick succession. The mantises behind dodged one after another. However, the number of large praying mantises was just too many, and this spear could only slightly slow their pursuit. Jiang Xuan ran very fast, but Feng Chao, being less strong, gradually slowed down after running with full effort for a while. Seeing this, Jiang Xuan immediately grabbed her hand, continuing to run with her. Not long after, the two finally reached the spot where Tang Yuan was. "Quick, get on." Jiang Xuan first had Feng Chao climb onto Tang Yuan's back, then pushed the wanderer up and leapt himself, landing on Tang Yuan's back. By this time, swarms of praying mantises had already caught up, and the forest in the distance was buzzing with noise. Jiang Xuan urged, "Tang Yuan, go quickly." Cry! Tang Yuan's strong legs first quickly contracted, then suddenly pushed off the ground, spreading its wings to fly into the sky. Jiang Xuan turned to look back, only to see those large mantises flying back and forth on the ground, but dared not chase Tang Yuan anymore. In the forest, the people of the mantis tribe also rushed out, but could only watch helplessly as Tang Yuan left. "It's that big bird. It's the tribe from yesterday. They've come looking for us. What do they want to do?" The warriors of the mantis tribe discussed noisily. "Everyone, stop arguing." The leader of the mantis tribe roared, silencing the warriors. "Go back and strengthen the defenses. With the mantis god here, coming here is a death wish." After speaking, the leader of the mantis tribe took the lead in walking back. In fact, he had a bad feeling in his heart. The heavy cavalry of the Vine tribe had left a deep impression on him, and he vaguely regretted snatching the Vine tribe's prey. But at this point, there was no other option but to prepare for battle. "Leader, we've been discovered. What should we do now? Should we go back?" In the sky, Feng Chao asked Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan thought for a moment, then said, "The situation of the Mantis tribe has not been fully explored. Going back now would be a wasted trip. Although we can't enter that part of the forest, they eventually have to go out hunting. We can find an opportunity to capture a few people and still figure out the situation of the Mantis tribe." Feng Chao's eyes lit up. "Yes, why didn't I think of that?" Jiang Xuan smiled. "Find a safe place to land, then capture them." Tang Yuan circled the area and finally landed halfway up a mountain. Jiang Xuan left that wanderer there, and then took Feng Chao to capture someone. With winter approaching, every tribe is frantically stockpiling food, and the Mantis tribe is no different. They have to send most of their people out. The weaker members stay near the tribe to find wild fruits and dig out edible plants. The stronger ones form hunting teams to hunt various beasts, acquiring essential furs, meat, and beast bones for making tools for winter. Jiang Xuan's target is these hunting teams that venture farther away. As long as they capture two, take them back to the Vine tribe, there are ways to make them talk. The area where Tang Yuan landed is not too far, nor too close to the Mantis tribe, and there's bound to be a hunting team passing by. After Jiang Xuan and Feng Chao entered the forest, they began searching for various clues. Half a day later, they tracked down a hunting team of the Mantis tribe and stealthily followed them. This hunting team was surrounding a few wild boars, with dozens of large mantises flying around helping. Jiang Xuan, taking advantage when everyone's attention was on the wild boars, prepared a piece of beast hide and sprinkled some medicinal powder on it. This medicinal powder, given to him by Qi Shao, was made from special herbs. Once inhaled, a person would immediately fall into a coma. Jiang Xuan quietly approached a warrior of the Mantis tribe, standing on the outskirts, and suddenly covered his nose and mouth with the beast hide sprinkled with powder. Ugh, ugh, ugh. The warrior of the Mantis tribe opened his eyes wide, struggled briefly, then inhaled a lot of powder, rolled his eyes, and passed out. After knocking down one person, Feng Chao immediately carried the person away to a more remote location and tied him up with rope. Then Jiang Xuan repeated the tactic, found another opportunity, subdued another warrior of the Mantis tribe, and carried him to the woods to join Feng Chao. "Let's go back to the tribe." Jiang Xuan tied them up, and then he and Feng Chao quickly left the forest, each carrying an unconscious warrior of the Mantis tribe. Even though Feng Chao is a woman, she is now a two-color warrior. Carrying someone while running is nothing. After they left, the hunting team of the Mantis tribe exerted great effort to kill 5 large wild boars, although some wild boars escaped. When they tied the wild boars up to carry back, they realized 2 people were missing. Where are they? The hunting leader was shocked, unable to figure out what was going on. What are you staring at? Quickly go find them. Under the roar of the hunting captain, the hunting team of the Mantis tribe immediately scattered to search for the missing people. Soon after, someone found 2 fallen stone spears on the ground. "Leader, their spears are here." Looking at the 2 stone spears in front of him, the hunting leader frowned deeply. People from the tribe never leave their weapons behind unless they encounter irresistible danger. Since the spears were left, it's likely they met a grim fate. Keep searching. The hunting leader led people to search for a while longer, but found nothing, not even any traces of blood. Hunting is inherently a very dangerous task. Whether encountering ferocious beasts or various dangerous plants, venomous snakes, and insects, there's always a risk of death. Since they couldn't find the people, they had to assume they were already dead. "Let's go back." Feeling miserable, the hunting leader walked back, and the others could only follow carrying the prey. On the other side, Feng Chao and Jiang Xuan had already returned to the mountain with the 2 unconscious captives. "Let's go back to the tribe." It was now evening, and Tang Yuan bathed in the orange-red sunlight, carried 5 people, and flew towards the Vine tribe. Chapter 259. This battle leaves a name. When Jiang Xuan and his group returned to the tribe, it was already night. The two unconscious Mantis tribe warriors had also woken up. Jiang Xuan had the Vine tribe warriors find a house to lock them up, temporarily settled the wanderer who had made merit, and then went to sleep. Early the next morning, just as dawn broke, the wanderer Shu Jin woke from his sleep. He watched as the Vine tribe warrior in the same room got up, took a strange animal hairbrush, sprinkled some charcoal powder on it, and then picked up a clay cup, filled it with water, and went to the door to brush his teeth. There were also warriors leisurely eating roasted stone egg. All of this was very new to Shu Jin, and it confirmed to him that Jiang Xuan had truly fulfilled his promise of integrating him into the Vine tribe after finding the Mantis tribe. Want to eat some? The warrior eating a stone egg broke off a large piece and handed it to Shu Jin. Can I eat it? Shu Jin was indeed hungry, but hadn't quite adapted to the change in his identity. Of course you can. The leader said you're already a member of the Vine tribe. Upon hearing the warrior's affirmative response, Shu Jin accepted the piece of roasted stone egg with excitement and carefully took a bite. It's sweet. Shu Jin's face showed a joyous smile. The warrior smiled back and continued eating because they were about to go hunting and needed to eat well to have strength. After taking a few bites, Shu Jin asked, "Why do they use that thing to brush their teeth?" The warrior replied, "The people of the Vine tribe wash their face and brush their teeth every day. It's a rule set by the leader. Besides brushing their teeth and washing their face, there are many rules in the Vine tribe you'll learn after staying for a few days." Oh, I see. Shu Jin noted down what the warrior said because he was now a member of the Vine tribe and needed to follow these rules as well. At that moment, those warriors who had finished brushing their teeth returned, dug out roasted stone eggs from the ashes, quickly ate them, drank some water, and picked up their weapons, preparing to go hunting. After the warriors left, Shu Jin stayed in the house somewhat at a loss because he didn't know what to do. Fortunately, he didn't wait long before Jiao, the leader of the breeding team, came over. "You're Shu Jin?" "Yes. Come with me. The leader has arranged for you to work with our breeding team." "Okay." Just like that, Shu Jin joined the breeding team, becoming an ordinary member working for the Vine tribe. On the other side, Jiang Xuan began interrogating the two warriors from the Mantis tribe. "Tell me everything you know about the Mantis tribe." Facing Jiang Xuan's questioning, the two warriors from the Mantis tribe turned their heads away, completely ignoring him. "Very well. I admire people with backbone. I hope you can hold out longer." After Jiang Xuan said this, he nodded to the nearby Vine tribe warrior and then turned and left the room. Soon, the room was filled with heart-wrenching screams, clearly as the Vine tribe warriors began using torture. Jiang Xuan stood outside the room, listening to the screams while looking at the entire Vine tribe. He was not a cold-hearted person. On the contrary, he had a soft heart and disliked cruelty. But as the tribe grew larger and faced more enemies, he needed to learn to be ruthless when necessary. Otherwise, it could not only harm himself, but might also endanger the whole tribe. Growth is not always beautiful. Many times, it involves adapting to things you originally dislike. If you can't adapt, you'll be eliminated. Reality is straightforward and harsh. After a while, the screams stopped. A Vine tribe warrior with blood on his hands came out and said to Jiang Xuan, "Leader, they're willing to talk." Jiang Xuan nodded and then walked into the room, thick with the stench of blood, to obtain the information he wanted from the two Mantis tribe warriors. Following this, Jiang Xuan summoned all key figures of the Vine tribe to his courtyard for a meeting. He first described the situation of the Mantis tribe and then looked at everyone, saying, "This Mantis tribe must be fought against. We can't let other tribes think the Vine tribe is weak and easy to bully. Only by quickly annihilating the Mantis tribe can we deter other tribes." Jiang Xuan's gaze turned sharp. "In this battle, we must establish a fierce reputation. Establish a fierce reputation. Establish a fierce reputation." After hearing Jiang Xuan's words, everyone shouted, feeling passionately excited and charged with fighting spirit. "Go back and prepare, everyone. We set out tomorrow to eliminate the Mantis tribe before the snow falls." Everyone in the room got up, and went back to make preparations for the battle. Only Qi Xiao remained. After everyone left, she worriedly asked Jiang Xuan, "Xian, I have no objection to the battle, but what about those captives?" The number of Vine tribe captives was indeed too many. Once the Vine tribe goes for battle, the Vine god would also follow, and these captives couldn't be left unattended. If they make trouble, it would be a troublesome matter. Jiang Xuan said, "I've already thought about it. In the afternoon, all captives will be transported by bamboo rafts and wooden ships to the second residence place, and we'll leave them several days' worth of rations, and then take away all the bamboo rafts and wooden ships so they can't cross the river. Our food and various resources are here, so even if someone causes trouble, it won't result in significant losses." Qi Xiao asked again, "What if they escape?" The vine wall was tall, but the tribe members were agile. They could easily climb the vine wall to escape. Jiang Xuan laughed and said, "Winter is coming soon. Unless they're fools, they should realize that escaping now would be courting death. If someone does escape, then we don't need such a fool." Qi Xiao nodded, knowing that Jiang Xuan had already considered these situations, so she had nothing more to worry about. "Then I'll go prepare the things." Qi Xiao left Jiang Xuan's courtyard. As a witch, preparing for such a significant endeavor like the tribe's expedition, she had a lot to organize. Jiang Xuan sat alone by the fire pit, watching the dancing flames, carefully calculating various possible scenarios that might arise and trying to come up with responses. By midday, all warriors of the Vine tribe mobilized and transported over 1,500 captives across the river. Fortunately, the Vine tribe had already gone through a few instances of transporting large groups across the river. Thus, it produced a large number of bamboo rafts and wooden ships. Otherwise, it would have taken an unknown time to transport them. The second residence of the Vine tribe still had 300 captives. It used to have over 500, but later more than 100 performed well and were integrated into the Vine tribe during the autumn's Great High Priest ceremony. Following this, Jiang Xuan selected 18 warriors with relatively strong abilities and good behavior to handle over 100 people each and promised them benefits. "As long as you manage everyone, don't cause trouble or make disturbances. When we're back, we'll give each of you a separate wooden house, a small jar of salt, and integrate you into the Vine tribe as actual warriors. But if any of you lead the trouble or incite others, I promise you'll die horribly." "Understood. Understood." These people all nodded, no matter what they thought, at least acted very obediently. Jiang Xuan also delegated the power to distribute food to them so that they could establish higher prestige among the captives. Afterward, Jiang Xuan took the Vine tribe warriors, along with all bamboo rafts and wooden ships, crossed the river, and isolated all these captives on the opposite bank. Crack! Crack! On Stone Mountain, the divine vine glowed slightly, and vine walls around the second residence were activated again, with thorny vines growing rapidly, covering the surface of the vine walls. The doorways were sealed off. In this way, even if someone tried to run, it wouldn't be so easy. At night, all warriors of the Vine tribe were nervously preparing all kinds of weapons, rations, and healing medicine. Early the next morning, the Vine tribe finally set off. Buzz, buzz, buzz. On Stone Mountain, over 60 giant dragonflies were enveloped by divine light. Originally slowed down due to the cold weather, they once again regained vitality and returned to their usual flying speed. Boom, boom, boom. Then the enormous divine vine withdrew its root tendrils, detached from Stone Mountain, once more floated in the sky, its divine power surging like an ocean. Woo, woo, set out. Some warriors blew their horns, and then all the warriors of the Vine tribe mounted their rides. Under Jiang Xuan's order, they majestically advanced toward the Mantis tribe. Crack, crack, crack. After they left, all the doorways in the vine walls, controlled by the divine vine, were closed, making it impossible for outsiders to enter or insiders to leave. Chapter 260, Vulnerable. Southern Wilderness, Mantis Tribe. The morning temperature was already very low, and the large mantises clung to the trees, motionless. In just a few days, these large mantises would begin to die off one by one. Of course, they left behind a large number of mantis eggs, so by next year, the large mantises would appear again. Inside the tribe, the ordinary members of the mantis tribe were repairing their houses to prepare for the cold winter. In fact, they hadn't done such repairs before winter in years, because due to climate changes, the western wilderness hadn't seen snow in recent winters. But with the shaman in the tribe, he would guide the tribal members on what to do and when, based on his experience. This is one of the values of having a shaman. In the wooden house, the shaman and the leader sat by the fire pit. Continue sending the warriors out to raid. Take as much as you can. This is our first winter in the southern wilderness. We must prepare more food. The mantis tribe shaman was a frail-looking old woman, seemingly too weak to withstand the wind. Yet the leader of the mantis tribe showed great respect before her. Shaman, but I'm worried about the tribe we encountered a few days ago. Should we leave more warriors to guard the tribe? However, the shaman of the mantis tribe shook her head and said, "It will snow soon. They need to stockpile food for winter too. They won't dare to attack our mantis tribe. Moreover, with the mantis god here, even if they come, they will gain nothing." She had sufficient confidence in the mantis god, as the mantis tribe had consistently won wars with other tribes under its power. The leader also had great confidence in the mantis god, and trusting the shaman's judgment, he left the wooden house and immediately arranged for the warriors of the mantis tribe to go out to hunt and plunder. Noon. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The members of the mantis tribe, who were busy repairing houses, suddenly heard a strange rumbling sound, and it was getting closer and closer. Someone climbed the tallest tree nearby and stood at the top, able to see further into the distance. "Oh my God, what is that?" This mantis tribe member saw an extremely shocking scene, his mouth agape in fear. In the distant sky, dozens of giant dragonflies were rapidly flying towards the mantis tribe, scaring the birds along the way and fleeing in all directions. Before the mantis tribe member could climb down from the tree, the swarm of giant dragonflies had already arrived. Whoosh! One of the giant dragonflies swooped down, its 6 barbed claws instantly grabbing him and dragging him into the sky. Help! The mantis tribe member screamed in terror and agony. Crunch! The giant dragonfly lowered its head, its terrifying pincers crushing his head. Flutter, flutter, flutter. On the ground, numerous large mantises took flight. Although life was waning, their combat power should not be underestimated. However, the strength of the large mantises was not in flying. When facing land-bound humans or other beasts, they held a significant advantage. But in front of the giant dragonflies, whether in size, speed, or combat ability, they were on a completely different level. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The giant dragonflies weaved through the sky relentlessly, grabbing a large mantis with each dive and biting off their heads, spilling green fluid everywhere. What the hell are those things? What the hell are those things? On the ground, the leader of the mantis tribe was hopping mad, never expecting the usually invincible large mantises of the western wilderness to be slaughtered. That's right, being slaughtered. These large mantises stood no chance against the giant dragonflies, even though their numbers far exceeded that of the dragonflies. In front of the giant dragonflies, these large mantises were no different from a swarm of mosquitoes, utterly crushed. "Shaman, please invoke the god and wipe out these damned dragonflies," the leader yelled, obviously heartbroken for the continually dying large mantises. The shaman of the mantis tribe nodded, her eyes fierce. She walked to the altar and began chanting ancient witchcraft. Boom! Behind the altar, from a nest constructed of various trees, crawled out a terrifying giant mantis. Unlike the other large mantises, this giant mantis had blood-red eyes and blood-red wings, appearing extremely eerie and frightening. The shaman before the altar became excited, shouting loudly, "God! God, God, God!" Among the mantis tribe, all the tribe members cheered fervently. Buzz! The mantis god unfurled its wings and shot up into the sky, moving many times faster than the ordinary large mantises. Snap! The mantis god's speed was incredibly fast, its terrifying front limbs like a giant scythe, slicing a giant dragonfly in half in an instant. Yes, the mantis tribe members on the ground cheered. Indeed, the god was the mightiest. All their attention was in the sky, yet they didn't notice the large number of warriors from the vine tribe arriving at the edge of the mantis tribe in the forest ground. Charge! Jiang Xuan, mounted on Crescent, raised a bone spear and let out a low roar. Boom, boom, boom. Earlier, the black-winged rhinoceroses moved slowly to remain hidden, but now they could finally gallop, and over 30 black-winged rhinoceroses charged excitedly towards the mantis tribe, creating a tremendous momentum. Behind the black-winged rhinoceroses, countless great-horned deer and wild sheep carried the warriors of the vine tribe forward with their heads down, moving at incredibly high speed. In the mantis tribe, a few warriors responsible for the perimeter were raising their heads, gazing up through the canopy gaps, watching the mantis god displaying its divine might. Suddenly, they heard an unusual commotion coming from the forest. Someone turned to look and saw the charging rhinoceroses, along with the vine tribe warriors on their backs. Enemies attacked. The person had just shouted a phrase when they heard a whoosh, and a short spear flew over, instantly piercing through his chest, its terrifying power knocking him backward. Bang! This mantis tribe warrior fell to the ground, blood gushing from his throat, making him unable to speak a word, yet his mouth still opened and closed, as if trying to say something. At this moment, the other warriors in the mantis tribe finally reacted. But as they turned around to grab their weapons to retaliate, the black-winged rhinoceroses had already charged. Thump! Crescent knocked a mantis tribe warrior flying, the terrifying power causing the warrior's bones to break and muscles to snap, his internal organs shattered, with no chance of surviving. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The vine tribe warriors charged forward on their mounts, while throwing short spears or shooting arrows, almost passing through without giving the mantis tribe warriors any chance to retaliate. The continuous screams and the sound of heavy hooves on the ground finally dragged the mantis tribe people out of their zealous worship of the totem god. Enemy attack. Prepare for battle. The mantis tribe leader shouted, hastily organizing warriors to confront the enemy. However, the speed of the cavalry was far too fast, and by the time they were temporarily organized, the massive black-winged rhinoceroses had already charged. Boom! A wooden house collapsed under the impact of the black-winged rhinoceroses, turning into pieces of scattered wood. The mantis tribe warriors inside the wooden house, ready for an ambush, were also trampled to death by the massive hooves of the black-winged rhinoceroses, unwillingly dying. Kill! Jiang Xuan shouted loudly, and then charged towards the leader of the mantis tribe. He rode a black-winged rhinoceros, while the leader of the mantis tribe stood on the ground, not daring to face him head-on, only evading. However, though he evaded, the warriors of the mantis tribe around him suffered misfortune. Puff! A mantis tribe warrior was pierced by Jiang Xuan's bone spear, another was killed by Crescent, and the rest fled in horror, not daring to face the enemy directly. Not only Jiang Xuan, but other vine tribe warriors also fought with ease since they had mounts. This advantage was tremendous. They even felt that the mantis tribe was very weak, often collapsing at the first touch, without executing any decent retaliation. But they didn't know, due to the mantis tribe witch's confidence, 2/3 of the tribe's warriors were sent out to forage. The warriors remaining in the mantis tribe, including the great mantises, were relatively weak, and their numbers were not large. Moreover, with the vine tribe's full cavalry, how could the warriors and common people within the mantis tribe possibly win? Despite it all sounding cumbersome, in reality, it all happened very swiftly, so swiftly that when the mantis god reacted, the vine tribe cavalry had already charged into the tribe and started slaughtering. At this time, in the sky, the mantis god had already cut down 3 giant dragonflies, and the other giant dragonflies scattered around, avoiding the mantis god. When the mantis god tried to cut down the 4th giant dragonfly and assist the mantis tribe people, an accident occurred. Whoosh! An enormously thick vine, flickering with green light, appeared suddenly, attempting to coil around the mantis god. Crack! The mantis god reacted swiftly, and before the vine could wrap around it, its terrifying forelimbs instantly chopped the vine into pieces. Creatures that become gods are naturally not to be trifled with, and possess unique skills. This pair of terrifying forelimbs of the mantis god is one of its strongest methods, able to cut through even large trees. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. More vines appeared, attempting to coil around the mantis god. Moreover, these vines were covered with a light protective shield, and the mantis god's second chop unexpectedly failed to sever them. Buzz! The vine god finally appeared, floating from the forest below to the sky, countless vines coiling around the mantis god. This! The mantis god let out a piercing cry, its forelimbs turning blood red, and its attack power increased once again. Vines approaching it were once again severed. But the vine god is much stronger. Though the mantis god wasn't bound and killed by the vines temporarily, it couldn't descend to rescue the mantis tribe people. And at this moment, all the giant dragonflies were freed and continuously flew up and down, capturing and killing one great mantis after another, repeating this process. Inside the mantis tribe, countless wooden houses collapsed. The mantis tribe warriors and ordinary people were overwhelmed with no power to retaliate, dying and fleeing, exhibiting utter defeat. Chapter 261, Iron Wire Worm King. The mantis god howled at the sky once more. Seeing its tribe on the brink of annihilation, it was clearly enraged to the extreme. In fact, most mantises do not have vocal cords. They can only make sounds by rubbing their wings. The mantis god is different. Through evolution, it has already learned to produce simple howling sounds. If it continues to evolve, one day it might be able to make real sounds like other animals. Unfortunately, it has encountered the divine vine, and whether it can survive today is uncertain. Swish, swish, swish. Vines weave together to form a large circular net, trapping the mantis god inside. These vines were as translucent as jade. The vast divine power turned into a green protective layer, preventing the mantis god from cutting through the vines as it had before. The vine net slowly contracted, immobilizing the mantis god, and if this continued, the mantis god would undoubtedly die. The divine vine is too strong. For the totem god of a small tribe to defeat, it is almost unrealistic. You should give up struggling. The incredibly vast divine vine looked down at the already trapped mantis god, the immense divine power fluctuating as it conveyed its voice. However, just at this moment, the mantis god's eyes became even redder, and in the narrow space, it let out another howl. At the same time, a shimmering black line slowly emerged from its tail. This line resembled a black python, but it was much longer and incredibly hard, extremely terrifying. Once it completely emerged, the mantis god's abdomen deflated, its breath weakened, but its eyes became more frenzied. Jiang Xuan had just completed a round of attacks, and when he saw the mantis god with that black line, he shouted out in shock, "Iron wire worm!" The iron wire worm is a very terrifying parasite, especially for mantises. Once this parasite grows within a mantis, it controls the mantis's consciousness, turning the mantis into a walking corpse. The iron wire worm manipulates the mantis to find a water source and jump in to drown. Subsequently, the iron wire worm emerges from the mantis's belly and enters the water to reproduce more worms. Jiang Xuan never expected such a terrifying creature to appear within a mantis god. Could it be that the mantis god is also controlled by the iron wire worm? But the next moment, he realized he was mistaken. The mantis god let out a howl, and then the massive iron wire worm started to move, drilling out from the gaps in the vine net. The iron wire worm was incredibly hard, especially one that had been nurtured by the totem god for an unknown amount of time. It was practically a worm-shaped weapon. It drilled into the gaps of the vine net, writhing vigorously, its still rigid body forcing open a large gap in the vine net. Subsequently, The iron wire worm squeezed through the gap, heading straight towards the divine vine's main body. The divine vine hadn't anticipated this situation. It could only send some vines to block the iron wire worm. But the iron wire worm was too slippery. It could twist into any shape to escape through various gaps. The vine entanglement deployed by the divine vine lost its effect for the first time. Above the sky, a flash of black, the iron wire worm approached the main stem of the divine vine, wrapping around it, attempting to forcibly break the main stem. Clack, clack, clack. The iron wire worm was extraordinarily hard and immensely powerful, causing indents on the divine vine's main stem. The divine vine had to use some of its divine power to deal with this bizarre iron wire worm. Hiss! The mantis god seized the opportunity to furiously swing its forelimbs, hacking an opening in the vine net, then flew out. After flying out, it gazed coldly at the divine vine, eager to cut it down at once. On the ground, Jiang Xuan, witnessing this scene, felt his heart tense up. In his past life, Jiang Xuan had heard terrifying tales about the iron wire worm. It was said that the iron wire worm could twist off a cow's tail. When he grew up, he realized those were merely scare stories. The iron wire worm didn't have such exaggerated strength. But now, the iron wire worm king, encountered by the divine vine, had unimaginable strength and hardness. For the first time, the divine vine faced trouble in confronting the totem god of a small tribe. Meanwhile, some of the hunting team from the mantis tribe nearby forests had already returned. Jiang Xuan couldn't afford to pay attention to the battle in the sky, leading the warriors of the vine tribe into another round of attacks. Within the vine tribe, Qi Xiao, riding a great horned deer, after charging for a while, began to try her newly learned witchcraft. Rapid growth. Qi Xiao grabbed a vine from the ground. Her witch power furiously infused into the vine. The vine rapidly grew visibly and wound itself around the nearby mantis tribe warriors. A mantis tribe warrior was charging forward, but was suddenly entangled by the vine and fell to the ground. When he tried to get up again, it was too late. Several rock goats trampled over him, crushing him to death with broken bones and torn muscles. Almost at the same time, several other mantis tribe warriors were entwined by vines and then killed by the vine tribe warriors. The witchcraft taught by the vine god is indeed formidable. Qi Xiao was very pleased because it was her first time using witchcraft against enemies successfully. Meanwhile, in the sky, the iron wire worm continued to coil around the divine vine, and the mantis god was waiting for an opportunity to defeat or even kill the divine vine. Most plants are afraid of insects, and vines are no exception. If the power level is the same, plant-based totem gods are naturally restrained by insect-based totem gods. However, the divine vine was much stronger than the mantis god. The divine vine had survived until today with its vast experience dealing with various insects. Buzz! The divine vine finally began to fight back, its terrifying divine power surging like a wave. In the distance, the forehead mark of the vine tribe on a giant dragonfly suddenly exploded with intense light. Then, it quickly flew to the vicinity of the divine vine. The mantis god sensed that something was wrong and immediately flapped its wings, trying to stop the giant dragonfly from approaching. Snap, snap! A dozen vines transformed into fearsome divine whips, lashing at the mantis god. The mantis god was struck, causing its wings to bend, and it hastily retreated in fear. The giant dragonfly finally flew above the divine vine, and several vines gently wrapped around it. Then, an immense amount of divine power poured into the giant dragonfly. Boom, boom, boom. The giant dragonfly visibly grew larger, its strength rapidly increasing. Soon, the giant dragonfly's body length reached over 30 meters with a wingspan of over 50 meters, transforming into a terrifying colossus. The vines entwining the giant dragonfly loosened, and then the giant dragonfly flapped its wings, flying to the side of the colossal iron wire worm. The giant dragonfly opened its fearsome pincers, biting onto the iron wire worm binding the divine vine. Crunch, crunch! Boom! The iron wire worm king, invincible to vines, only held out for a moment under the giant dragonfly's pincers before being severed. But it didn't stop there. The massive, giant dragonfly continued its frenzied biting, ultimately tearing the iron wire worm king into a dozen pieces, rendering it utterly ineffective. Poof! As the iron wire worm king was bitten through, the mantis god spewed a mouthful of green liquid, just like a human spitting blood. This iron wire worm king initially parasitized the mantis god before it became divine, feeding off its nutrients like other iron wire worms, seeking to control its will. However, the mantis eventually deified, reversing control over the iron wire worm king's consciousness, continuing to nurture it within as a deadly weapon. Their connection was extremely tight, truly one success all succeeds, one failure all fails. Because of this, when the iron wire worm king was shredded into pieces, the mantis god suffered severe damage. Buzz! The giant dragonfly flapped its wings again, its flight speed reaching an extreme. It nearly instantaneously charged to the rear of the mantis god, grabbing it with 6 large barbed claws. Crunch! The giant dragonfly bit the neck of the mantis god, creating a dreadful wound with green liquid spurting out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Countless vines coiled over. This time, the mantis god was utterly powerless, tightly wrapped by the vines. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The divine vine began extracting the divine power and essence of flesh and blood from the mantis god. The mantis god roared endlessly, yet to no avail, unable to escape the fate of being drained by the divine vine. Meanwhile, the giant dragonfly, after serving its purpose, slowly descended onto a big tree. At this point, as the divine power receded, the giant dragonfly's life also reached its end. The massive infusion of divine power granted short-lived strength, but it came at a cost. Chapter 262, Totem Pattern. After the death of the mantis god, the giant mantises, along with the people of the mantis tribe, did not escape their fate. After slaughtering the people inside the tribe, the vine tribe stayed put and killed off the hunting teams as they returned, one by one. At present, the vine tribe had no need for captives. Moreover, this battle was meant to establish a notorious reputation, leaving no survivors at all. The entire mantis tribe territory was filled with a strong stench of blood. Boom! On one hand, the divine vine wrapped itself around the already dead mantis god, slowly absorbing divine power, and on the other hand, it rooted itself in the sea of corpses and blood, extracting the essence of flesh and blood. The divine vine became even more enigmatic. No one knew the full extent of its strength. While other warriors continued to stand guard, Jiang Xuan had already begun to gather loot with his people. The first thing was to collect various foods. Although the vine tribe had a bountiful harvest this year, the surge in population kept the pressure on food resources high. The mantis tribe had pillaged widely to accumulate a vast amount of food for the winter. Now, all this food became a boon for the vine tribe. Next in line were the warm beast hides. The vine tribe's beast hide clothing had large shortages, so besides the mantis tribe's stock, even the beast hide clothing worn by the mantis tribe warriors was stripped off. These beast hide clothes, once brought back to the vine tribe, could be cleaned and re-tanned, and then distributed to the captives to keep warm. Next were the mantis tribe's precious collections of beast bones, beast teeth, herbs, stones, and other items, all packed and moved back. As for the stone basins, stone pots, stone bowls, and worn-out pottery left by the mantis tribe, Jiang Xuan didn't want a single piece. The vine tribe's pottery-making craftsmanship was already quite mature, so these shoddy items were not even worth Jiang Xuan's attention and would be left for someone destined to find them. Salt. When Jiang Xuan searched the house where the mantis tribes which lived, he found a jar of salt. However, the salt was not pure white. It had some other colors and was clumped together, of poor quality. No one knew where the mantis tribe got it, but Jiang Xuan was well aware this kind of salt, consumed over time, could cause health issues. Of course, for the tribesmen, having something to eat was already a blessing. The quality was something only considered after they were full. Bring it back for refinement. Jiang Xuan poured the salt into a beast-hide bag for easier transport. As for the broken jar, Jiang Xuan casually threw it aside without a second glance. Qi Xiao was more interested in the beast skin scrolls left by the Mantis tribe's witch. In these beast skin scrolls, the history of the Mantis tribe, the witch's experiences, and matters regarding the West Wilderness tribe were recorded in witch script. In the eyes of ordinary tribesmen, these scrolls were worthless, but for Qi Xiao, they were treasures. The warriors of the Vine tribe stayed here for a full day and night. Besides gathering loot, they were killing the Mantis tribe's warriors returning from hunting. By noon the next day, apart from a few who escaped, most of the Mantis tribe had gone to join their god. The divine vine also sucked the Mantis god dry, leaving only an empty shell. Boom! The divine vine discarded the empty shell, withdrawing its roots from the Mantis tribe's residence. This time, annihilating the Mantis tribe, the divine vine gained enormous benefits, absorbing a huge amount of nutrients. Perhaps, given time, it might break through again with power comparable to the great tribe totem god. The divine vine floated in the sky once more, its vast divine power making all nearby creatures restless. The loot had been fully loaded, and it was time to prepare to return. However, before returning, Jiang Xuan planned to leave something for the nearby tribes. Boom! Jiang Xuan carried a relatively flat, giant stone from nearby and erected it in the center of the Mantis tribe. Then, Qi Xiao used fresh blood to draw a Vine tribe totem pattern on the giant stone and inscribed words in witch script. Those who offend the Vine tribe, though distant, will be punished. The divine vine added a strand of divine power to the giant stone. The blood-red totem pattern seemed to come alive, gently twisting on the stone. With this divine power's blessing, the blood-red totem pattern, including the witch script, could remain unchanged for a long time. The warriors of the Vine tribe piled the corpses drained by the divine vine into a mountain behind the giant stone. After finishing all this, the Vine tribe finally began their journey back. Set off. Jiang Xuan rode on Tang Yuan, carrying part of the spoils, soared into the sky, and flew first toward the Vine tribe. As for the Black Wind Rhinoceros Crescent, it carried a large quantity of spoils, walking along with other Black Wind rhinoceroses also laden with spoils. With the divine vine accompanying them, no beast or warriors from other tribes dared to provoke them along the way. 3 days later, the Vine tribe warriors returned triumphantly, and under the control of the divine vine, the Vine High Wall's gate opened once again. Finally back, Jiang Xuan rode Tang Yuan, flying in a circle over the Vine tribe before landing in his courtyard. Rumble! The divine vine returned to its original position, rooted in the ground, winding around Stone Mountain. The giant dragonflies enthusiastically flew a few laps around Stone Mountain, then settled back onto the massive vine. Vine tribe warriors filed in through the north gate of the Vine High Wall, and the entire Vine tribe became lively once more. The old witch who had stayed in the tribe carving the Great Wilderness 100 Herbs map walked out of the house. Seeing the Vine tribe return with a large amount of spoils, he knew they had won again. If this development continues, it won't take long before the Vine tribe becomes a medium-sized tribe. The old witch was deeply moved. Such rapid development was astonishing. Most importantly, the Vine tribe was not blindly expanding. Every aspect developed relatively balanced, with a foundation even more solid than other tribes. This was the most shocking and somewhat frightening aspect for the old witch. He used to think that a tribe reaching the level of a large tribe was the pinnacle of achievement. But now, after witnessing the growth of the Vine tribe, he suddenly felt that perhaps a large tribe was not the end for the Vine tribe. As for what the Vine tribe might ultimately become, constrained by his knowledge, he could no longer imagine. Getting old, can't see through it anymore. The old witch shook his head and returned to the house to continue carving the Great Wilderness 100 Herbs map. After Jiang Xuan returned, the first thing he did was lead a group of warriors to cross the river and check on the prisoners. 1,800 or so prisoners had been left unsupervised for 7 or 8 days. No one knew what might have happened. However, when he walked into the second settlement, he found the situation much better than he expected. The prisoners not only hadn't escaped, but under the leadership of the 18 small leaders Jiang Xuan had previously selected, they continued to reclaim the land. He summoned a small leader to inquire about the situation. The small leader said, "In the first 2 days, some people tried to escape, but we killed them. Later, I discussed with the other leaders that so many people couldn't just idle around. Idleness would lead to problems, so we let everyone to continue clearing the land. As long as they're exhausted every day, plus with adequate food, no one causes trouble." Jiang Xuan was surprised by this small leader's performance. This guy had a knack for leadership. "What's your name?" "Leader, my name is Bai Shu. You've done well, and the rewards I promised will be given to you tonight." "Thank you, leader." Bai Shu was very happy because, according to Jiang Xuan's previous promise, he and the other small leaders each would receive a separate wooden house and a small jar of salt. A wooden house and a small jar of salt were significant wealth for tribal people. And Jiang Xuan also remembered Bai Shu's name, thinking that this guy was talented and might be useful. Meanwhile, news of the Mantis tribe's destruction quickly reached nearby tribes. When they led people to the Mantis tribe, hoping to pick up some leftovers, they saw the bloody totem pattern on the giant stone and the corpse mountain behind it. The terrifying scene chilled the warriors of these small tribes, making them remember the totem pattern on the giant stone. In the future, when encountering warriors with this totem pattern, they would try to avoid them or be courteous if avoidance wasn't possible. Then, they cautiously went to scavenge. "Hey, there's a pottery jar here." A small tribe warrior picked up a broken pottery jar, almost jumping for joy. This thing was trivial for the Vine tribe, but a treasure for other small tribes. Soon, others found stone bowls, stone basins, and other worn pottery. The warriors of several small tribes went crazy, even fighting over the loot. Chapter 263. Ox Plowing the Field. After dealing with the Mantis tribe, winter had quietly descended. After the heavy snow sealed the mountains, the Vine tribe, like every winter before, continued their efforts as ordinary tribesmen crafted various tools while the warriors fished and hunted during the winter to provide more food for the tribe. It's worth mentioning that because food was relatively abundant, Jiang Xuan selected some skilled wanderers outside the Vine wall to join the Vine tribe to polish stone tools, craft weapons, and sew beast-hide clothing for the tribe. As for those wanderers without skills, Jiang Xuan left them a means of survival by having them work for the Vine tribe. Polishing stone tools and beast bone tools is a very time-consuming task, and to make enough tools for the entire tribe requires a significant investment of time. Therefore, Jiang Xuan distributed some stones and bones, allowing those wanderers to polish them day and night in exchange for a little food or beast hide, so they wouldn't starve or freeze to death. At the same time, Jiang Xuan allowed these wanderers to trade with members of the Vine tribe. For example, some wanderers, if luck permitted, found better stones or beast bones in the forest. They could bring these stones and beast bones to exchange with the Vine tribe for food, beast hide, or even salt. Relying on employment and trade, some strong and lucky wanderers managed to survive this winter. As for those who were weak and unlucky, they were only left to be eliminated by nature. Because even if they worked hard to obtain a little survival resources, they could very likely have them snatched away by stronger people. This is the sorrow of being weak. No matter whether people lived well or poorly, time always passed at its own pace, little by little. In the blink of an eye, the cold and torturous winter had passed. Many people fell into eternal slumber during winter, but many others endured and awaited spring's arrival. In the 5th year of the Vine tribe's founding, at the beginning of January, the sun has come out. We finally made it through. As the long-lost sun warmly graced the earth and the ice began to melt, the wanderers outside the Vine wall jumped up in excitement. Winter was desperate, as beneath the snow's blanket, finding any food was incredibly difficult. Spring was different. Even if eating grass roots, wild vegetables, or insects there were always ways to survive. In the vine tribe, Jiang Xuan engraved a line on the new bamboo slips he made during winter. The 5th year of the vine tribe, January 1st, clear. 5th year already. After carving, Jiang Xuan felt deeply moved. When he first arrived in this world, faced with various traps, he didn't know how he'd survive. Yet in the blink of an eye, 4 to 5 years had passed. Despite various difficulties and dangers, he had made it through, and the vine tribe had grown from the original 5 people to over 2,000 and was still expanding. Squeak! Jiang Xuan opened his house door and felt exhilaration under the courtyard sunlight. Chirp! Tang Yuan emerged from the giant bird's nest in the bamboo shed, enthusiastically flapping its wings, sending snow in the courtyard flying everywhere. In another bamboo shed, the black-winged rhinoceros crescent lay in its nest, shaking off the snow on its head with a helpless snort, exhaling 2 streams of warm breath from its nostrils. In terms of size, it couldn't compare to Tang Yuan, and in combat power, it was even more outmatched, so even if dissatisfied, it could only endure. Tang Yuan held its head high, not even glancing at Crescent. It skillfully opened the courtyard gate, then slipped through the repeatedly widened main entrance, running towards the open ground in front of the altar and taking off directly. It couldn't wait to search for fresh prey. Crescent, let's go out for a stroll too. Jiang Xuan called out, and Crescent immediately stood up from the nest, shook its fur, and approached Jiang Xuan, kneeling so he could climb on. Once Jiang Xuan was seated, Crescent rose again, taking him outside. Although the sun was already up, only a small portion of the ice and snow had melted, and many bamboos bent or broken under the weight of the snow were visible everywhere. Thankfully, the vine tribe had cleared a very wide path in the bamboo forest long ago, or getting out would have been challenging. Outside the bamboo forest, most of the vine tribe's people had come out to bask in the sun. Jiang Xuan walked to the houses on the tribe's left side, seeing Go Tung and Fu Ling, with Fu Ling holding their child. Jiang Xuan jumped off Crescent's back, walked over to Fu Ling, and looked at the child she was holding. Oh, little Tian Dong is growing fast. In just over 4 months, Tian Dong had transformed from a wrinkled infant into a plump, round baby. With a round face, long eyelashes, big eyes, a cute little nose, rosy lips, and chubby lotus root-like hands, he was very adorable. Fu Ling laughed and said, "Thanks to the tribe's ample food, we eat well." The vine tribe afforded privileges to pregnant women, nursing mothers, and infants, ensuring they had plenty to eat, even during winter, with fresh fish and beast meat caught during winter. Jiang Xuan shook Tian Dong's little hand, saying, "Grow up quickly and become a brave and strong warrior." At that moment, little Tian Dong grinned, his innocent smile uplifting everyone's mood. Beside him, Go Tung also smiled, having matured significantly since becoming a father, acting more responsibly. Chapter 264. Ox Plowing the Field 2. Jiang Xuan teased the child again, then rode on Crescent to continue patrolling the tribe. When he reached outside the stone workshop, he unexpectedly found quite a few members of the planning team there, and everyone's expression was quite exciting. What's going on? Jiang Xuan felt puzzled, so he dismounted from Crescent, prepared to go inside and take a look. Just at that moment, people inside started to rush out. It's out! It's out! The crowd gathered around Elder Blackstone, their eyes fixed on the tool in his hands. Jiang Xuan only glanced at the tool, but couldn't take his eyes away. The curved plow. It's really been made. What Elder Blackstone held was a wooden stone-structured curved plow. The beam of the plow was made of naturally curved wood, and the plowshare and bed were also made of high-quality wood. The plow blade and wall, however, were made of top-grade stone. Among them, the most important plow blade was made of superior stone, extremely hard and not easily damaged. This curved plow, though it looks simple, has actually been crafted over a long period and improved countless times. If it truly can be effective, the productivity of the vine tribe's current production method will be greatly enhanced. After Jiang Xuan arrived, those gathered made way for him to enter. Everyone held great respect for the leader. Once inside, Jiang Xuan saw Gong Song squatting on the ground, tenderly caressing the curved plow as if it were a treasure. "It's completed?" Jiang Xuan looked at Elder Blackstone. "Completed," Elder Blackstone confirmed with a nod. "But whether it can truly be used will have to wait until the snow melts, and we could try it out in the fields with the cattle." Jiang Xuan nodded and said, "Then we'll wait for the snow to melt to try it. If it works, your stone workshop will have achieved a great accomplishment, and the rewards will not be lacking." Elder Blackstone humbly said, "Thank you, leader." On the ground, Gonsong didn't even want to speak. His eyes were solely on the curved plow. He was greatly anticipating whether this thing could bring great changes to the planning team, as the leader said. The members of the planning team, including others watching the excitement, eagerly discussed, all wanting to know what effects this tool could produce. 5 days later, the temperature gradually increased, and the thick snow on the ground mostly melted. Splashing sounds. In the Feiyu River, the water began to rush again. Due to the massive ice melting, the water level even rose quite a bit. In the fields, with the sunlight shining, the soil became moist and soft enough to conduct the cattle plowing experiment. "Moo!" De Jiao personally brought the most obedient ox over, while Elder Blackstone brought the curved plow, equipped with ropes, to attach to the ox. The planting team sent out its most experienced warrior in farming, who walked excitedly to the ox's rear holding a bamboo whip. Jiang Xuan, Qi Xiao, along with many clansmen of the Vine tribe, gathered beside the farmland to witness this historic moment. "It must succeed! It must succeed!" Gonsong stood nervously aside. If it weren't for his single hand, he would have personally conducted this experiment. Jiang Xuan walked beside the warrior responsible for plowing the field, teaching him how to use the curved plow. "Hold the plow with your left hand, hold the bamboo whip with your right, and the cow rope, right, hold it well." Under Jiang Xuan's guidance, the planting team warrior nervously held the plow, the bamboo whip, and the cow rope. "Okay, now urge the ox to move forward. Hey, move." Following Jiang Xuan's instructions, the warrior waved the bamboo whip without actually hitting the ox's rear. This ox was tamed by the divine vine and was very obedient, not needing a nose-piercing or forceful whipping. "Moo!" The tall ox let out a low growl, then lowered its head and began pulling the curved plow forward. At the ox's shoulder position was a curved wooden pole tied with sturdy ropes at both ends, connecting to the curved plow. When the ox moved forward, the curved plow was pulled along. Stirring sounds. Squelch. After the ox took 2 steps, the plow blade entered the soil, continuing to move forward. The soil was initially dug open by the plow blade, and upon encountering the curved plow wall, it immediately tumbled to the left. As the ox continued forward, a row of overturned earth was left behind, deeply dug and very even. When the ox reached the field edge, Jiang Xuan walked over again, guiding the warrior to first shift the plow tail, then pull the cow rope to make the ox turn. This step was a bit challenging. It took about 4 or 5 attempts before the warrior and ox learned how to make turns. Time gradually passed. The coordination between warrior and ox shifted from early stumbling to forming a slight rapport, and the speed of plowing the field continually increased, with rows of earth swiftly overturned. When the entire field was completely plowed and the ox dragged the curved plow back to shore, everyone present cheered. "It's a success, success!" Gonsong excitedly waved his fist, his face flushed with overwhelming excitement. Jiang Xuan also felt very happy. Finally, they wouldn't have to rely solely on manpower to plow the fields. Elder Blackstone let out a sigh of relief. The curved plow had been crafted for a very long time, and now, achieving success, his efforts had finally not been in vain. The warrior responsible for plowing, looking at the entirely overturned soil, felt as if it were a dream. Chapter 265, Ox Plowing the Field 3. He squatted on the ground, grabbed a lump of soil, and said incredulously, "So fast, really fast, much faster than when we use a bone plow." Jiang Xuan smiled and said, "Of course, the combination of the curved plow and the ox is much faster than several people digging together. In the future, We need to make more curved plows and train more oxen. That way, we can cultivate more fields and produce more grain." Jiang Xuan's words once again invigorated the crowd, and they looked forward to that day. Continue plowing the field. The warrior responsible for holding the plow collected his thoughts, driving the ox towards another plot of land. To master the skill of plowing with oxen, there is no shortcut. It requires a lot of time and effort to practice. Soon, another field was surrounded by people again. Everyone watched the miraculous ox-drawn plow with great interest, watching the soil turn over quickly. Gonsong naturally wouldn't let just one person learn. He arranged for several warriors to take turns learning. In the future, after making more curved plows and training more plow-pulling oxen, the planting team would be able to cultivate wider fields and produce more grain. Southern wilderness, northwest of the vine tribe, frog tribe. The snow has finally melted. Huameng stood outside the shabby wooden hut, basking in the sunlight, tears streaming down his face. Although the frog tribe had tried their best to stockpile food before the snow, because the winter was too long, they still fell into a food crisis. In this winter, more than a dozen people of the frog tribe starved to death. Among them, 7 or 8 were newborns. Having been accustomed to the snowless winters of the western wilderness, the snow-covered southern wilderness subjected them to immense pain and suffering. Fortunately, they eventually endured it. "Go find food." After collecting his thoughts, Huameng roared, and the entire tribe came out. They were starving, emaciated, and desperately needed food. At present, although the snow had melted, many animals were still in hibernation, and insects were also hibernating. With the strength of the frog tribe, relying solely on hunting certainly wouldn't fill them up. Therefore, they had to eat whatever they could find. Non-hibernating small birds, wild beasts, insects hibernating under rocks and beneath rotten tree bark, as well as grass roots and non-rotten nuts. Even though they ate very mixed, very poorly, they still couldn't fill their stomachs. The hunger would continue for some time until everything flourishes, the herbs sprout, and the hibernating animals and insects all come out. Only then would they have a chance to eat their fill. At night, with his hunger slightly relieved, Huameng found the witch to discuss the future of the tribe. Inside the wooden hut, Huameng and the witch sat by the fire pit. Although we migrated to the southern wilderness, the population is already severely lacking. If we encounter a slightly bigger danger, the tribe might. Huameng's eyes were somewhat gloomy. Although he didn't finish his sentence, both of them understood the meaning. The witch was silent for a moment, then asked, "What do you plan to do?" Huameng said, "Before last winter, the mantis tribe was wiped out by someone. It was the vine tribe. I even personally took people to see the huge stone with the vine tribe's totem pattern on it. The mantis tribe was very strong. During our migration, we saw several small tribes wiped out by them, but the vine tribe was stronger, so they were able to wipe out the mantis tribe." Huameng paused for a moment, a hesitant and struggling expression on his face, but eventually he became resolute. He took a deep breath, looked at the witch, and said, "I think that finding the vine tribe and becoming their subordinate tribe can make the frog tribe strong again." "Impossible." The witch stood up excitedly, pointing at Huameng with a trembling finger and loudly reprimanding. "This is betrayal of the tribe, betrayal of the frog god. The frog god has already left us, witch, wake up." Huameng also stood up, his emotions very agitated. The warriors of the frog tribe decrease one by one. The giant frogs are becoming fewer and fewer. Without the protection of the vine tribe, I will die, you will die, and sooner or later, the frog tribe will be wiped out. The witch wanted to say something, but his mouth opened and closed without uttering a word, unable to refute. Huameng also realized he was too agitated. He sat back down and said softly, "Witch, face reality. Our frog tribe is no longer the frog tribe it once was. By becoming a subordinate tribe of the vine tribe, we have a chance to grow strong again, and the frog tribe can remain intact. Continuing like this, I see no hope." The witch also slowly sat back down, his face full of pain, but he did not refute, nor could he refute. Chapter 266, Establishing a Trading Zone. The events happening in the frog tribe are unknown to Jiang Xuan. as he is currently busy with an important matter. That is the establishment of a trading area. This is something Jiang Xuan has always wanted to do, but didn't have the ability to achieve in the past. Trading, especially with primitive tribes, offers very high profits, and the risks are much smaller compared to direct warfare. Take the Black Teeth tribe, for example. They have long traded among various tribes in the southern wilderness, buying goods at low prices and selling them at high ones, with profits from each item being at least 10 times or even tens of times the original price. Because of this, the Black Teeth tribe earns a full pot every year and has become one of the famously prosperous tribes in the southern wilderness. The resources earned from trading propel the tribe to continuously grow larger, and once the tribe grows, it can participate in more trades with other tribes, creating a positive cycle. Of course, for a tribe to earn various resources from trading, its own strength must be strong enough. Otherwise, others wouldn't trade willingly with you, but would instead rob you directly. The Vine tribe previously engaged in trading as well, but due to insufficient strength, their trading was passive and did not yield much. Now, Jiang Xuan believes the time is ripe to transform passivity into activity by establishing a trading area on the outskirts of the Vine tribe for people from external tribes and nearby wanderers to come and trade. The first step is site selection. Jiang Xuan decided to build the trading area south of the Vine tribe because this area has the highest concentration of wanderers and quite a few migrating tribes. The second step is to build houses. Log cabins won't do, as their lifespan is short and they look too rudimentary. Jiang Xuan plans to construct several sturdy mud brick houses, whose longer lifespan and impressive, solid appearance would clearly distinguish them from the structures of other tribes. With his plans settled, Jiang Xuan immediately began assembling workers. He recruited over 30 strong and efficient captives along with former house-building individuals in the Vine tribe to start digging the foundation. The initially constructed mud brick houses in the Vine tribe had no foundations. Whenever it rained heavily, the mud bricks near the ground would partially dissolve, requiring frequent repairs and the digging of many drainage ditches to promptly remove rainwater. After this initial lesson, all later-built mud brick houses in the Vine tribe included foundations, with stone bases to form the walls seating at the bottom, layered with mixed mud, and mud brick walls built atop. This way, the mud bricks became less susceptible to rainwater erosion, making the houses sturdier and more durable. Within the Vine wall at the Vine tribe south gate, Jiang Xuan directed the crowd in their work. Come, let's start by pulling the ropes. Jiang Xuan took several long ropes and a large bag of lime to mark the foundation lines. He first fixed 2 ropes, one long and one short, to the ground to form an angle. To ensure this angle was a right angle, he applied the simplest Pythagorean theorem. If one side of the triangle measures 3, the second side measures 4, and the hypotenuse measures 5, then it is surely a right triangle. 3 for the leg. Jiang Xuan used a straight small stick to measure thrice along an already fixed rope, marking it at a length equal to 3 small sticks. 4 for the other leg. He used the same small stick to measure 4 times along another fixed rope, marking it similarly. 5 for the hypotenuse. Finally, he took a new rope and measured 5 times with a small stick, marking it once more. Then, he placed the new rope across the marks on the other 2 fixed ropes, adjusting the positions of those 2 ropes until all 3 marks aligned perfectly. After such a simple procedure, a reasonably standard right angle emerged. Subsequently, he used the same method to determine another right angle and then secured the ropes. This way, as long as corresponding rope lengths are the same, all 4 corners of the house can be assured as right angles. Once the outer circle was secure, Jiang Xuan used 4 more ropes to pin down the foundation's inner circle. Spread the lime. After dealing with the ropes, 2 captives followed Jiang Xuan's orders to start lining lime along the ropes. When excavating the foundation, the ropes cannot remain untouched, thus lining lime is critical work. Once the lime lines were spread, even if the ropes were shifted, as long as the digging follows the lime lines, a relatively standard foundation can be achieved. Seeing them done with spreading lime, with the lines relatively straight, Jiang Xuan nodded in satisfaction. Start digging. Jiang Xuan personally grabbed a bone plow, and according to the line, dug one corner out first. Others grabbed their tools too, vigorously digging. Because the houses being built were quite numerous and spacious, and the tools were relatively primitive, the foundation digging task took 3 days to complete. After the foundation was dug, Jiang Xuan no longer needed to directly oversee them because the Vine tribe already had a portion of people who learned how to build such mud brick houses. Using stones to build foundations, mixing mud, adding straw and leaves, molding mud bricks, building walls, erecting columns, constructing roofs. This series of craftsmanship the Vine tribe people had relatively mastered and could sometimes summarize their experience to constantly improve. Having lived here a long time, Jiang Xuan drew a lesson that one should never underestimate the wisdom and learning ability of tribespeople. Poverty and backwardness do not equate to stupidity. They simply have no opportunity to learn. While the Vine tribe built trading area houses, external trading did not halt. Outside the Vine wall at the southern edge of the Vine tribe, close to the gate, there is a flat area where several tents are set up. Within the tents are some reed mats laid out, various goods placed. This constitutes a rudimentary trading area. Wanderers near the Vine tribe enjoy coming here to trade. Because Jiang Xuan strictly restrains the tribal warriors from forcibly robbing in the trading area, otherwise they would face severe punishment. Wanderers who trade here need not worry about their goods being snatched, and they can exchange for what they need. Over time, word of mouth spread, and the nearby wanderers who find anything valuable bring it here to trade. In one of the tents, a wanderer hesitantly walked in and then produced a medicinal plant. How much grain can I trade for this medicinal plant? Inside the tent, a Vine tribe warrior sitting on the reed mat picked up the medicinal plant, looked it over, and then picked up 2 round potatoes the size of a bowl from the ground, saying, "This medicinal plant can only be exchanged for 2 round potatoes. Do you want to trade or not?" The wanderer's eyes lit up, and he exclaimed with delight, "Trade, trade, trade. All right, I'll take the medicinal plant, and you can have the round potatoes." The Vine tribe warrior handed the round potatoes to the wanderer and then put away the medicinal plant. The wanderer, holding his round potatoes, beamed with joy. It was his first time trading at the Vine tribe, and he hadn't expected it to go so smoothly. "Hold on." Just as the wanderer was about to leave, the warrior called out to him. The smile on the wanderer's face stiffened, and his steps halted. Could it be that the Vine tribe folks changed their minds and wanted to rob back the goods? He turned around with difficulty, clutching the 2 round potatoes tightly in his ragged beast hide clothing, stammering, Is there anything else?" Seeing this, the Vine tribe warrior realized what he was thinking and smiled warmly. "No need to be nervous. I just want to tell you that it won't be long before the Vine tribe establishes a real trading area, a large one. Food, salt, beast hide clothing, weapons, pottery, tools, everything can be traded. If, at that time, any of your friends still find good stuff, you're welcome to come trade." After listening to the Vine tribe warrior's words, the wanderer breathed a sigh of relief and nodded rapidly, like a pecking chicken, before hurriedly leaving. The Vine tribe warrior wasn't bothered, having seen lots of wanderers like this, timid especially, easily scared by the slightest noise. However, there are quite a few wanderers. They often find good things in the forest, bringing them here to exchange for food or beast hide clothing. Jiang Xuan specifically instructed the promotion of the new trading area, and recently, all wanderers who came to trade would be informed. This way, once the new trading area is built, there won't be any worries about not having customers. The Vine tribe warrior sat on the reed mat, patiently waiting for the next person to come and trade. Chapter 267, Opening of the Trading Area. More than a month later, the Vine tribe trading area was officially completed. The trading area was within the Vine wall, with 5 shops initially established. The first shop sold grain and salt. The second shop sold beast hide clothing and accessories. The third shop sold various tools. The fourth shop sold witch medicine for healing and treating illnesses, and the fifth shop sold pottery. Although it looked relatively simple, the 5 shops basically covered most of the items needed by the tribespeople. In the future, the trading area would continue to be built until it became a true marketplace. Lift it a little more this way. In front of the new trading area, Jiang Xuan was directing a dozen warriors in placing a giant skull. This skull was moved from the foot of Stone Mountain after Jiang Xuan communicated with the Divine Vine. Back then, after wiping out the Jackal tribe, the Jackal God's corpse was brought back by the Divine Vine, which absorbed all the essence of the flesh and bones, leaving just a lifeless skeleton. This kind of skeleton had become porous and fragile, no longer suitable for making weapons. But it was still an intimidating decoration. Just as the Vine tribe was about to establish the trading area to deter outsiders coming for trade and wanderers, Jiang Xuan brought over the Jackal God's skull. The Jackal God's skull was enormous, standing 4 to 5 meters tall on the ground, and it was very heavy, requiring a dozen warriors to lift it. Jiang Xuan instructed the warriors to place the Jackal God's skull in front of the trading area, facing the gate, so that as soon as anyone entered the door, they would see it prominently. All right, drop it there. After positioning it, Jiang Xuan told the warriors to lower the skull. After placing it down, the warriors were panting heavily, clearly exhausted. Jiang Xuan examined the skull and felt that the wolf's mouth was closed, lacking ferocity. So he fetched 2 wooden sticks and propped up the Jackal God's skull's upper jaw. This way, the wolf's mouth was open, and its fearsome fangs were clearly visible. It looks much better this way. Jiang Xuan circled the skull twice, then walked over to the gate and observed, nodding in satisfaction. All right, everyone, one more effort. Move the goods over. The trading area opens tomorrow morning on time. The warriors ran back to move the goods again. Although it was quite tiring, everyone was excited because the leader said that in the future, not only would outsiders and wanderers come to trade, but the tribespeople of the Vine tribe could also trade. They could take the things they didn't need to the trading area to exchange for what they needed. This not only promoted the circulation of goods among the tribespeople, but also brought benefits to the tribe. Truly a win-win situation. A continuous flow of goods was moved from the tribe's various workshops into the trading area shops to prepare for the opening the next day. Jiang Xuan selected 4 warriors with a talent for business from those who previously handled trade with wanderers to take charge of the 4 shops other than the grain and salt shop. Grain and salt are the most important goods, requiring the most trustworthy and capable people. Without enough ability, even loyalty isn't enough. During trading, losses would be inevitable. Having ability but lacking loyalty isn't acceptable either. Sitting on such important resources, any ill thoughts might lead them to collude with outsiders and trick the Vine tribe, causing huge losses to the tribe. Jiang Xuan thought it over and finally settled on a candidate, Dong Kuei. Dong Kuei's arithmetic talent was the strongest in the Vine tribe, second only to Qi Xiao. Since last autumn, Jiang Xuan attempted to let Dong Kuei manage the Vine tribe's grain and beast hides and other resources. You see, the Vine tribe now has a large population, and the variety and quantity of goods are massive. Ordinary warriors would be dizzy seeing so much. Dong Kuei neither complained nor refused. She held a beast skin scroll and a beast hair brush, categorically inventorying the items under Jiang Xuan's guidance and documenting them on the beast skin scroll. Every time goods came in or went out of storage, it needed recording, continually updating the inventory levels in the warehouse. This was not an easy task, but Dong Kuei carried it out excellently with no errors. Because of this, when the trading area was established, Jiang Xuan immediately thought of Dong Kuei. Once the trading area opens, goods will be frequently bought and sold. Jiang Xuan believes that currently in the Vine tribe, only Dong Kuei is qualified for this job. He found Dong Kuei and explained the trading area matters to her. The grain and salt shop is the place with the highest volume of trade and currently the most important place in the trading area. I hope you can manage it. What do you think? Jiang Xuan didn't mention another point, which was that the person responsible for the grain and salt shop would, in the future, be responsible for the entire trading area's operation. After listening to Jiang Xuan, Dong Kuei pondered for a moment and said, "Since the leader trusts me, I'll give it a try." "Great. Starting tomorrow, You'll go to the trading area to manage the grain and salt shop. As for the warehouse, Ziyi will temporarily take charge. Ziyi, also a female warrior, was Dong Kuei's assistant in managing the warehouse, and her arithmetic talent was quite good as well. Dong Kuei nodded, having no objections to Jiang Xuan's arrangements. Prepare yourself then. Jiang Xuan turned and left the warehouse. Dong Kuei handed over the various tasks in the warehouse and the bee skin scroll recording resource quantities to Ziyi. Dong Kuei, I'm a bit scared. What are you afraid of? Scared I won't do a good job. Ziyi felt very anxious because previously she only needed to assist Dong Kuei, but now she had to take full responsibility for such a large warehouse. Dong Kuei smiled and said, "The leader trusts you, and so do I. What's there to be afraid of? Be bold. You'll definitely do well." Ziyi took a deep breath and nodded heavily. "If there's anything unclear, just say it, and I'll tell you." "Okay." In the warehouse, Dong Kuei patiently answered all of Ziyi's questions, striving to make her more comfortable taking over warehouse management. The next morning, the Vine Tribe's new trading area finally opened. Good news, amazing news. The Vine Tribe's new trading area is opening, and every guest entering the trading area today will receive a free round potato. A rare opportunity. Don't miss it by any means. Outside the Vine Tribe, dozens of Vine Tribe warriors, riding great horned deer or rock goats, shouted as they ran through the forest, ensuring that all nearby wanderers heard the good news. These phrases were taught to them by Jiang Xuan, clear and catchy, truly captivating. Had it not been for concerns about his status as a leader, Jiang Xuan originally planned to lead the promotion himself. Soon, the news of the Vine Tribe's new trading area opening and the free round potatoes spread among the nearby wanderers. Could there really be such good luck? The wanderers were all excited, heading towards the Vine Tribe's new trading area with a simple thought in mind. No harm in taking free stuff. But when they reached the south of the Vine Tribe and learned that the new trading area was inside the Vine Wall, most hesitated. What if, after entering, the Vine Tribe had malicious intentions? It would be hard to escape then. As everyone hesitated, a hungry wanderer stepped forward. "Anyway, I'm almost starving. There's nothing to fear. I want to eat round potatoes." This wanderer resolutely walked through the Vine Tribe's gate, with only one target in mind, the promised free round potato. When he walked inside the Vine Wall, he immediately saw the giant skull of the jackal god, felt a bit intimidated, and slowed his pace. "Here, come this way." A Vine Tribe warrior warmly guided him into the trading area, passing by shops filled with goods. The wanderer was dazzled by what he saw. After walking through all the shops, at the end, a Vine Tribe member gave him a round potato the size of a bowl. The wanderer, having nothing to trade, held the round potato and walked out, feeling as if it was a dream. Outside, the sight of him exiting unharmed with a round potato caused a stir among the wanderers. "You can really get a free round potato. Come on, hurry in." Some brave wanderers entered the trading area first, and after taking the round potatoes out, they attracted more wanderers to go inside. Soon, the Vine Tribe's new trading area became bustling with activity. Chapter 268, Long Time No See. After the Vine Tribe trading area opened, word quickly spread among the wanderers nearby and several small tribes in the vicinity due to the free round potato given away on the first day. Additionally, the members of the Vine Tribe could also bring their own items to trade, making the trading area incredibly busy for a while. At this time, the Frog Tribe leader, Huameng, had already found this place and captured a wanderer. "Don't kill me, don't kill me." The wanderer screamed in terror and struggled constantly. "Don't move. If you move again, I'll snap your neck." The tall Huameng grabbed the wanderer as easily as holding a chick, and the 6 warrior patterns on his face scared the wanderer further. The wanderer dared not struggle anymore. He could only plead with Huameng, shivering all over. "Do you know where the Vine Tribe is?" I know." Realizing that the other party wasn't specifically causing him trouble, the wanderer breathed a sigh of relief and quickly said, "As long as you don't kill me, I can take you there." Huameng's eyes lit up, and he said, All right, as long as you take us there, I won't kill you. But if you dare play any tricks, I can guarantee you will die terribly. The wanderer hurriedly agreed. I absolutely won't play any tricks. I'll definitely be honest. Lead the way. Huameng put down the wanderer, letting him lead the way, while he himself brought along more than a dozen Frog Tribe warriors behind him, holding long spears and vigilantly watching the surroundings as they walked. The wanderer had gone to the Vine Tribe trading area 2 days earlier to receive a round potato, but after receiving it, he left the Vine Tribe because there were too many wanderers there, making survival pressure too great. Unexpectedly, after just leaving that gathering spot of wanderers, he was now forced to return. He felt very bitter inside, but couldn't say anything. He could only hope that these people would keep their word and spare his life after taking them to the Vine Tribe. The wanderer led the Frog Tribe people through the dense primitive jungle, and the closer they got to the Vine Tribe, the more wanderers they encountered on the road. However, upon seeing Huameng and his companions, these wanderers kept their distance, not daring to approach. After a day, the wanderers successfully led Huameng and the others to the territory of the Vine Tribe. When Huameng saw the towering stone mountain and the looming divine vine enshrouded in mist from afar, his mood grew excited, because Jiang Xuan had told him that the most striking features of the Vine Tribe were the stone mountain and the divine vine. Upon seeing the totem pattern on the outskirts of the Vine Tribe's territory, he immediately confirmed that this indeed was the Vine Tribe. At this moment, he felt an inexplicable urge to cry. The Frog Tribe had endured more than a year, migrated to the southern wilderness, suffered through the cold winter and the food scarcity of early spring, and finally found the Vine Tribe. When they arrived in front of the massive vine wall, the wanderer turned back cautiously and said, "I've brought you to the Vine Tribe. Can I leave now?" The wanderer was eager to slip away because he didn't know why these people were seeking the Vine Tribe. What if it was for revenge? Wouldn't it be dangerous then? Wait! Huameng stopped the wanderer who was about to bolt, causing the wanderer's face to drop instantly and his body to stiffen. Is there something else? The wanderer turned back, nearly in tears, genuinely afraid for his life. Huameng pointed to the vine wall's gate ahead and asked, "Why are there so many people going in and out of that place?" "That's the main entrance of the Vine Tribe. From there inside, you can go to the Vine Tribe's new trading area to engage in trading. 2 days ago, you could even get a free round potato when you went in." Thinking of the already eaten round potato, the wanderer's eyes held a trace of reminiscence. Trading area? Round potato? Huameng mused. He knew about the trading area, but he was unaware of what a round potato was, as there was no such plant in the western wilderness. Can I go now?" The wanderer asked carefully once again. Go ahead. Huameng waved his hand, and the wanderer fled into the forest as if granted amnesty, quickly disappearing. "Leader, should we go in?" The Frog Tribe warriors behind Huameng were eager to try. For the tribe members, visiting the trading area was a rare opportunity. Huameng thought for a moment and said, "Going in for a look would be good." Before becoming a subordinate tribe of the Vine Tribe, Huameng deemed it necessary to first understand the Vine Tribe and see if it was as powerful as he imagined. Huameng waved his hand and led the dozen or so Frog Tribe warriors to the front of the gateway. As soon as they approached, the Vine Tribe warriors responsible for guarding became nervous because of the intimidating 6 warrior patterns on Huameng's face. A majority of people from small tribes had never even heard of the 6-color warrior. "Which tribe are you from?" The Vine Tribe warriors guarding the gate stopped Huameng and his companions. Huameng replied, "We are from the Frog Tribe, heard there's a trading area inside, and wanted to take a look." One of the Vine Tribe warriors pulled out a large bee skin scroll and said, "Tribes visiting the trading area for the first time must leave their totem pattern here." This rule was set by Jiang Xuan. The advantage of doing this is that the Vine Tribe can later learn about the nearby tribes. Huameng looked at the bee skin scroll and saw the Vine Tribe's totem pattern in the center and several other tribes' totem patterns drawn around it. Chapter 269, Long Time No See 2. He thought for a moment and asked, "Is it okay to draw it anywhere?" The Vine Tribe warrior replied, "Did you come from over there? How long have you been traveling?" Huameng pointed to the northwest and said, "We came from over there. We don't know the way. Wandered around for a long time before we found this place." The Vine Tribe warrior pointed to the upper left corner of the beast skin scroll and said, "Then draw it here. Don't make it too big. Other tribes will need to draw it too." Huameng nodded. Instead of using the beast hairbrush, he directly used his finger to dip some green paint and then drew a moderately sized frog tribe totem pattern on the beast skin scroll. "Can we go in now?" "Yes, please enter." The Vine Tribe warriors stepped aside to let Huameng and the Frog Tribe warriors in. Although Huameng's face had 6 warrior patterns painted on it, the Vine Tribe warriors were only a bit tense, but not afraid. Because this was the territory of the Vine Tribe, protected by the Divine Vine. Even if a true 6-color warrior were to enter, they wouldn't be able to cause trouble inside the Vine Wall. However, to be on the safe side, as soon as Huameng and his group entered, a warrior immediately ran to report to Jiang Xuan. "Frog Tribe? 6-color warriors?" Jiang Xuan, who was hoeing in the yard, showed a face full of surprise upon hearing the news. Could it be that the Frog Tribe from the Western Wilderness has really migrated here? He felt a sense of disbelief because the Frog Tribe was so far away from the Southern Wilderness. He even suspected it might be another tribe with the same name. However, the reporting warrior also mentioned 6-color warriors. In Jiang Xuan's memory, only Huameng liked to pose as a 6-color warrior. In other tribes, Jiang Xuan had never seen a real 6-color warrior. "Let's go take a look." Jiang Xuan couldn't bother with hoeing the land any further. If it truly was the Frog Tribe from the Western Wilderness that had come such a long way, they deserved a warm reception. Inside the Vine Tribe trading area, Huameng led a dozen Frog Tribe warriors, walking on the smooth ground. Upon entering, they first saw a gigantic jackal god skull, which stunned them completely. Then they saw a row of neat, tall shops with various goods inside and people coming and going to trade, once again feeling the impact. "Chief, the houses of the Vine Tribe are so tall, so big, and look so sturdy." A Frog Tribe warrior exclaimed in admiration, and the other warriors nodded in agreement. They had never seen such neat, tall, and sturdy houses as those of the Vine Tribe anywhere else. Most tribes lived in low wooden or stone houses, which were not only unsteady, but also leaked severely, being very cold in winter. For the tribe people, the mud brick house, which appeared simple in Jiang Xuan's eyes, was a luxurious home they never dared dream of. Huameng nodded, resisting the urge to touch the walls, as they appeared extremely smooth. The various goods in the shops also gave Huameng a strong psychological impact. He had guessed the Vine Tribe was prosperous, but he did not expect it to be this strong. Grains, salt, pottery, witch medicine, beast hide clothing, tools, and other items. Other tribes barely had enough for themselves, yet the Vine Tribe could trade them. Before the Western Wilderness's climate worsened, the Frog Tribe occasionally traded with other tribes, but the items available for trade were scarce. He had never seen goods as comprehensive as those of the Vine Tribe. A resource-rich tribe must be incredibly strong. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to protect these items. At this moment, Huameng's worries about the Vine Tribe's strength vanished. Instead, he now worried whether the Vine Tribe would accept the Frog Tribe as a subordinate tribe. After all, the Frog Tribe was currently too weak, offering very limited benefits to the Vine Tribe. As a leader, Huameng clearly understood that only by providing enough benefits to others would they value you. If you couldn't offer benefits to others and sought their help instead, it would all depend on their goodwill. Huameng looked out across the broad area opposite the trading area. There he saw fields lined up in a row and countless people working in them. This farming scene was something Huameng had never seen in other tribes. Some tribes did engage in farming, but their methods remained extremely primitive and the scale very small, often barely clearing the weeds. However, the Vine Tribe was different. Because of Jiang Xuan's presence, the Vine Tribe's farming methods far surpassed those of any other tribe in this world. As Huameng glanced around with conflicting feelings, a group of Vine Tribe warriors surrounded Jiang Xuan and walked over. Jiang Xuan felt very happy when he saw Huameng. "Chief Huameng, it's really you." Jiang Xuan walked up to Huameng and gave him a bear hug. Chief Xuan, long time no see. Huameng smiled a complicated smile because he realized Jiang Xuan's strength had long surpassed him, becoming a formidable four-color warrior. Though he did not know that Jiang Xuan's strength was very close to becoming a five-color warrior. If he did, his inner feelings might be even more bitter. Ha ha! When I heard the tribe's men reporting, I almost didn't believe it. I couldn't imagine I'd actually see you here. Jiang Xuan was truly delighted, his face full of a genuine smile. Because Huameng being here meant he endured so much suffering along the way, it was clear without even needing to ask. Chapter 270, Long Time No See 3. Huameng said, I didn't expect to actually find the Vine tribe. By the way, where are your giant frogs? Jiang Xuan looked behind Huameng, but didn't see the iconic giant frogs of the frog tribe. Huameng answered, the giant frogs are still hibernating. They'll wake up when it gets a bit warmer. I see. Come, Chief Huameng, let's go to where I live, eat, and drink our fill first before talking. Jiang Xuan pulled Huameng along without allowing any argument, and the warriors from the frog tribe quickly followed. In the bamboo grove courtyard, Huameng looked up at the towering vine god mountain, feeling his heart and soul tremble. This is the guardian god of the vine tribe. Huameng sighed internally. Just a glance gave an overwhelming sense of pressure. If only the guardian god of the frog tribe were still around. Huameng thought of this and shook his head slightly, for he knew very well that the totem god of the frog tribe had long since fallen. Huameng then glanced at the two tall bamboo huts in the courtyard. Inside one, there was a giant bird's nest, where a huge purple raptor was pecking at a large snake, its sharp beak easily tearing the flesh apart. Huameng swallowed hard. The raptor's combat power must be incredibly terrifying because that snake was venomous, and he would definitely flee if encountered in the wild. He then looked at the other bamboo hut, where a massive black-winged rhinoceros lay, leisurely chewing on tender grass. Just from its enormous size and the sharp horn on its head, Huameng knew this creature was definitely not to be trifled with. Most importantly, both of these fierce beasts were kept by Jiang Xuan in the yard, and they were very obedient, clearly already tamed by him. At this moment, Jiang Xuan's image in Huameng's heart had become immensely imposing. Chief Huameng, come in and have a seat. Inside the house, Jiang Xuan called out, and Huameng quickly entered, no longer looking around. After entering the house, Huameng saw many beast horns and colorful beast hides hanging on the walls, including those of fearsome beasts. Besides these trophies that demonstrated power, Huameng also saw a large number of potteries, weapons, exquisite beast hide clothing, and some items of unknown use. Huameng sighed internally once more. The Vine tribe is truly powerful. Jiang Xuan, however, didn't concern himself with Huameng's inner thoughts. At the moment, he was holding a stone knife, slicing large mushrooms into pieces, then putting them together with big chunks of beast meat into a basin for marinating with salt and spices. Afterward, he peeled and trimmed the leaves off straight branches and set them aside. Chief Huameng, you're in for a treat. I happened to pick some mushrooms and caught a black muntjac today, so we can have grilled mushroom meat skewers. The technique for grilling mushroom meat skewers, I learned it from the mountain turtle tribe. It's incredibly delicious. Huameng laughed. Then I am really lucky. After witnessing the Vine tribe's strength, Huameng was already adopting a much humbler demeanor, even feeling somewhat restrained. At Jiang Xuan's invitation, he sat on a stool made from a tree trunk. Tribal people are accustomed to sitting on the ground, so sitting on a stool is actually quite uncomfortable, but Huameng didn't show any discomfort, instead complimenting the beast horns and hides on the walls. Jiang Xuan, being a very perceptive person, noticed that Huameng seemed to have something to say but hadn't spoken out yet. He wasn't in a hurry either. After marinating the mushrooms and the beast meat, he skewered them with the prepared branches, then raked over the embers from the fire pit and placed the mushroom meat skewers over the coals to roast. Before long, under the high heat, the mushroom slices and meat chunks released a rich aroma, whetting the appetite. Jiang Xuan chatted with Huameng about the frog tribe's migration journey while turning the skewers and, once cooked, handed 2 large skewers to Huameng and took 2 for himself. Huameng took just 1 bite, and his eyes lit up instantly. Chief Xian, you were right. These mushroom meat skewers are delicious. Huameng praised, then couldn't be bothered to speak further and quickly began eating. Chapter 271. The First Subordinate Tribe. After finishing the 2 skewers of mushroom meat, Huameng still felt unsatisfied and could only wait for the new mushroom skewers to be grilled. Jiang Xuan quickly finished the mushroom skewer in his hand as well. While continuing to grill new mushroom skewers, he asked, Chief Huameng, your frog tribe has just migrated over. Did you encounter any difficulties? Huameng hesitated for a moment, finally gritted his teeth, and said, Indeed, we have encountered some difficulties. Then, Huameng revealed the situation of the frog tribe after migration. With a population of less than 200 and only 20 or 30 giant frogs left, they could only reside in a remote area. Huameng said bitterly, Although the frog tribe has migrated to the southern wilderness, it has come at a great cost. The current frog tribe is already very weak. After listening, Jiang Xuan asked calmly, So what are your plans? Huameng looked at Jiang Xuan and finally revealed his true thoughts. Chief Xian, there are too many tribes migrating from the western wilderness. It's very difficult for the frog tribe to survive among their conflicts. So, Huameng took a deep breath and said, I request that Chief Xian accepts the frog tribe to become a subordinate tribe of the vine tribe, allowing the frog tribe to continue surviving under the protection of the vine tribe. After speaking, Huameng felt more at ease. He looked at Jiang Xuan, hoping to get a positive answer from him. The frog tribe wants to become a subordinate tribe of the vine tribe. Jiang Xuan did not expect that Huameng came to him for this reason. He had heard of subordinate tribes, but had never seen them himself, as it requires at least a relatively powerful medium-sized tribe to have the qualification to provide protection to and thus annex weaker small tribes. Moreover, not every small tribe is willing to become a subordinate tribe, because in becoming a subordinate tribe, a great price must be paid and independence will be lost. Firstly, subordinate tribes need to pay at least 1/10 of their harvest to the sovereign tribe, effectively protection money. Bear in mind, primitive tribes are generally extremely poor, with their own people unable to eat enough or keep warm. To pay more than 1/10 of their harvest to the sovereign tribe, the consequences are imaginable. Secondly, once a war breaks out between the sovereign tribe and another tribe as a subordinate tribe, they are bound to join the battle and are very possibly used as cannon fodder. Finally, there is the issue of independence. Becoming a subordinate tribe means that many matters are dictated by the sovereign tribe, and the leader and the witch of the tribe could very likely become puppets without real power. This is also the most unbearable part for many. Therefore, unless forced into a corner with no other options, tribes would never willingly become subordinate tribes. The frog tribe situation places them in such desperation. If no relatively powerful tribe provides them with protection, any small tribe could easily wipe them out. Moreover, as more tribes migrate to the southern wilderness, the land where the frog tribe currently resides will soon catch the eye of others. Once targeted by other tribes, the frog tribe could be annihilated at any moment. Jiang Xuan thought for a while and said, This matter is too significant. I need to discuss it with the tribe's members first. Chief Huameng, please sit here for a while. Huameng nodded and then watched Jiang Xuan leave the room, summoning a warrior to accompany him. Huameng had no other choice but to wait patiently. The other frog tribe warriors, residing in the living area outside the bamboo grove, as ordinary warriors, were unaware of the frog tribe's imminent status as a subordinate tribe. As they ate the food provided by the vine tribe, they marveled at the strength of the vine tribe, feeling relatively joyful. In Qixiao's yard, Jiang Xuan gathered the leaders of the vine tribe to discuss matters concerning the frog tribe. Jiang Xuan first briefed everyone on the situation of the frog tribe and then expressed his opinion. The frog tribe currently doesn't have a guardian god nor strong warriors, and they have no enemies in the southern wilderness. In my view, accepting them as a subordinate tribe is a good thing. If anyone has opinions, feel free to speak." Everyone exchanged glances, and finally, Jiang Xuan stood up and asked, "Chief, since the frog tribe is so weak, why don't we just annex them directly?" "That's a good question." Jiang Xuan expected someone to raise this question, for which he had already prepared an answer. Direct annexation is indeed an option, but it would bring a lot of trouble later on. Jiang Xuan looked at everyone and said, "Our vine tribe doesn't lack population, and we still have many captives who haven't been assimilated into true members of the vine tribe. If we also annex the frog tribe at this time, we would face even more captives harboring hostility towards us. We need a lot of food to sustain them, provide them with clothes, build houses for them, and constantly watch over them to prevent any harmful actions against the tribe." Pausing there, Jiang Xuan saw expressions of understanding on everyone's faces. Clearly, they understood the truths he spoke. Jiang Xuan continued, "On the contrary, having them as a subordinate tribe prevents such problems. We wouldn't need to worry about their food, clothing, and shelter. We only need to provide them with some protection, and they'll give us a tenth of their harvest. Be it food or other resources, it's a definite gain for us." Chapter 272, The First Affiliated Tribe 2. Moreover, in the future, if there are matters that the vine tribe is inconvenient to handle, we can ask them to do it. If there are words we find difficult to say, they can say it on our behalf. There are many benefits. After Jiang Xuan finished speaking, everyone showed a look of realization, clearly understanding the pros and cons of the frog tribe becoming a subordinate tribe. At this moment, Qi Shao stood up and said, "The chief's words make sense. Annexing the frog tribe would leave a heap of trouble, whereas making them a subordinate tribe harms us not, but benefits us greatly." I agree with the chief's opinion. The witch and the chief's opinions were unanimous, and Jiang Xuan persuaded the others, so they all agreed for the frog tribe to become a subordinate tribe of the vine tribe. Good. Since everyone agrees, it's decided then. Everyone can go back to their work now. After Jiang Xuan finished speaking, everyone got up and left in groups, faces lit with excitement, because the vine tribe was about to have its first subordinate tribe. Jiang Xuan and Qi Shao discussed the specifics of receiving the frog tribe and then walked towards their yards. Inside the house, Huameng was still anxiously waiting. His mood was very uneasy, even losing interest in eating grilled mushroom skewers. He worried that the vine tribe would refuse, given that the frog tribe was currently very weak. Finally, Jiang Xuan returned. "Chief Xuan." Huameng stood to greet him, looking at Jiang Xuan with apprehension, awaiting the final answer. Jiang Xuan didn't keep him in suspense and directly smiled at him, saying, "Chief Huameng, after discussions, the vine tribe has decided to agree to the frog tribe's request, allowing them to become a subordinate tribe of the vine tribe, and will provide necessary protection." "That's great. That's great." Huameng finally relaxed, a smile blossoming, but his heart bore a bitter taste, emotionally complex. Given a choice, who would willingly become a subordinate tribe? Jiang Xuan continued, "I discussed with the witch, and we can send some tribal warriors from the vine tribe to help you move your residence here, where you can establish a new settlement south of the vine tribe. To the south of the vine tribe, there's a vast forest and abundant water, more than enough to accommodate a small frog tribe." "Thank you, Chief Xuan." Huameng breathed a sigh of relief, as Jiang Xuan had resolved his concerns. After becoming a subordinate tribe of the vine tribe, the frog tribe must relocate here for better security. With tribal warriors from the vine tribe escorting, relocating the frog tribe will be much safer. Do you think we should go directly to the frog tribe, or would you prefer returning to prepare first, with our tribal warriors coming over later? Huameng said, "It's troublesome for the tribal warriors from the vine tribe to go with us now." Huameng is a decisive person. Once determined to become a subordinate tribe, he wouldn't hesitate. Bringing the vine tribe's warriors directly over, even if there are some dissenting voices within the frog tribe, they can be suppressed. "All right, I'll go assemble the team now and go with you to the frog tribe." Jiang Xuan first took Huameng to the residential area, joining other Frog Tribe warriors, then gathered 2 hunting teams, totaling over 200 warriors, preparing to head to the Frog Tribe. More than 200 warriors riding 36 black-winged rhinoceroses, along with wild sheep and great horned deer, boasting a formidable combat power, capable of dealing with any hindrance on the way. To ensure safety, Jiang Xuan visited the altar and requested the vine god for some protective measures. The divine vine granted him a piece of verdant vine, which upon shrinking wrapped around his right arm, said to protect him in critical moments. Jiang Xuan thanked the vine god, then mounted the crescent moon, leading 2 hunting teams, along with Huameng and the dozen Frog Tribe warriors, marching mightily towards the Frog Tribe. Tang Yuan followed the team, hovering in the sky. With its scouting from above, dangers on the road can be warned ahead, providing a layer of security. After traveling a long distance, during a rest break, Huameng informed the dozen Frog Tribe warriors accompanying him of the plan to become a subordinate tribe of the Vine Tribe. The dozen Frog Tribe warriors, upon hearing the news, were not as resistant as expected, because they had already witnessed the Vine Tribe's strength and were well aware of the Frog Tribe's current perilous situation. In such circumstances, becoming a subordinate tribe to the Vine Tribe wasn't particularly unbearable. After resting, the group continued their journey. Along the way, they encountered a few small tribes, but once those tribes saw the Vine Tribe's totem pattern, they all avoided them, with none daring to cause trouble. Since last autumn's end, the Vine Tribe vanquished the Mantis Tribe, piling bodies like a mountain, and left the totem pattern on a boulder, effectively intimidating the nearby small tribes. Unless utterly confident, no one wished to provoke the Vine Tribe, lest they invite disaster. Riding mounts is much faster than walking. 5 days later, Jiang Xuan and his team arrived at the forest where the Frog Tribe resided. The sudden appearance of such formidable warriors indeed startled the Frog Tribe, and if it weren't for Huameng showing up in time, the Frog Tribe might have fled. Huameng personally led the way, bringing the Vine Tribe's warriors to the Frog Tribe's residence. Chapter 273, The First Subordinate Tribe 3. Xian, the leader, I'll go find the witch first. Just wait for a moment. Okay. Huameng hurriedly went to find the witch of the Frog Tribe. Jiang Xuan, on the other hand, wasn't in a rush, instead watching the surrounding scenery with interest. In the wooden hut beside the large pond, Huameng explained the situation to the witch. The witch frowned and said, "Why did you bring them over directly?" Huameng retorted, "Does the witch have any other good way to ensure the Frog Tribe can survive safely here?" The witch was stumped by Huameng's remark, angry and anxious, but didn't know how to refute. Huameng smiled bitterly and said, "Witch, give up illusions. The sooner we migrate, the sooner we gain the Vine Tribe's protection. Staying here, with just these few people, we cannot survive." The witch closed his eyes and, after a long time, let out a deep sigh, exhausted, and said, "You are right. I am old, no longer useful. From now on, you will make decisions for the tribe." "Witch, don't say that." Huameng felt particularly uncomfortable inside. He wasn't intending to refute the witch or fight for control over the tribe. He merely wanted the Frog Tribe to continue surviving. The witch waved his hand and said, "No need to say more. In the coming days, I will do my best to train the next witch. I will pack up my things and prepare to migrate." After saying this, the witch turned around to pack the things in his hut, his waist bent deeply, moving very slowly. Huameng watched the back of this frail old man. His eyes were very sore, but he rubbed them, telling himself that now is not the time for sorrow. Huameng took a deep breath, then straightened his back and walked out of the hut. At such a time, he could not show any weakness. He had to persevere. Huameng gathered all the Frog Tribe people and announced that the Frog Tribe would become an affiliated tribe of the Vine Tribe, and that migration would happen immediately. Once the Frog Tribe people heard this news, there was a sudden uproar. Many felt they couldn't accept it. "Silence!" Huameng shouted loudly, calming the noisy crowd. "Becoming an affiliated tribe of the Vine Tribe is our only choice. Once there, We shall receive protection and can freely and boldly hunt for food without this constant fear. You can ask the warriors who have been to the vine tribe about its strength, which far exceeds your imagination. Migrating to the vine tribe is a good thing for the frog tribe. The crowd began to buzz again, as those dozen warriors who had been to the vine tribe were surrounded, with everyone eagerly asking them about the vine tribe. After they had discussed the situation sufficiently, Huameng shouted again, quieting the crowd. Now, everyone, pack your things immediately and head to the vine tribe together. If anyone refuses to go, they will be expelled from the frog tribe, and their fate will no longer concern the tribe. Huameng's strong stance silenced the frog tribe people. Though it was difficult for them to accept becoming an affiliated tribe, it was preferable to expulsion. Whether willing or not, everyone dispersed and went to pack everything they could carry, preparing to migrate with the tribe. In truth, the frog tribe didn't have much to pack. An hour later, everyone was carrying large and small bags, standing by the large pond, ready to depart. The frog tribe, which also emerged, heading to the hibernation place of the giant frogs, and recited a waking witchcraft spell. In reality, since the frog god had fallen, the giant frogs had little reaction to the witchcraft spell. This left the frog tribe, which even more despairing. Huameng was unconcerned about this. He led people to dig open the sleeping earth holes of the giant frogs and woke them one by one. Ribbit. The giant frogs, having hibernated the whole winter, lazily croaked and then followed the frog tribe people in migration. Set off. Outside the frog tribe, Jiang Xuan sat on the crescent moon's back, shouted, and then led the more than 200 warriors of the vine tribe to blaze the trail. The over 100 people of the frog tribe followed closely behind, many feeling lost, not knowing what kind of fate awaited them in the future. Chapter 274. Frog Tribe Settles Down, Malachite. Under the protection of the warriors from the vine tribe, the people of the frog tribe took all their belongings, along with their giant frogs, and slowly walked towards the vine tribe. Because the frog tribe people could only walk, they moved relatively slowly, so the warriors of the vine tribe had to slow down their mounts too. On the third day, they were targeted by a tribe that had just migrated from the western wilderness. This was a relatively strong tribe, with a population of over 3,000, and their totem god was a giant scorpion. They planned to raid the warriors of the vine tribe and the frog tribe together. Before the scorpion tribe got close, they were spotted by Tang Yuan hovering in the sky. Tang Yuan let out sharp, continuous cries. Not good. Prepare to meet the enemy. Jiang Xuan, who was at the front of the team, shouted, and everyone immediately went on alert, nervously looking around. Roar! The already tall crescent let out a low growl, with a faint vine tribe totem pattern appearing on its forehead, clearly ready for battle. Rustle, rustle. From the surrounding forest came a dense sound, and then a red scorpion the size of a millstone emerged first. Next, countless large scorpions, black, red, or brown, emerged, their pincers open wide, and their poisonous stingers poised, coldly watching the people of the vine tribe and frog tribe. Woo, woo, woo. After the big scorpions appeared, over 1,000 warriors of the scorpion tribe also appeared. They made hunting calls with their mouths, holding various weapons, encircling the people of the vine tribe and frog tribe. Kareak, tareak, tareak. A gigantic black scorpion appeared too, its body length reaching 20 to 30 meters, its pincers able to easily snap large trees, exuding a frightening wave of divine power. It was the totem god of the scorpion tribe. Among the scorpion tribe, someone shouted loudly, "Hand over everything, or we'll slaughter you all." Woo, woo, woo. The warriors of the scorpion tribe shouted excitedly, and those big scorpions were eager to kill. "Chief, what do we do?" Everyone panicked. If it were just the warriors of the scorpion tribe, they could rely on the speed of their cavalry to fight their way out. But facing the totem god of a tribe, they were no match. The people of the frog tribe panicked even more, and Huameng felt a sense of despair. Having traversed such a vast western wilderness and so far a journey, would they be annihilated here today? Huameng also walked up to Jiang Xuan. Now, his only reliance could be on the vine tribe. Compared to other warriors, Jiang Xuan was obviously much calmer. Because he had long anticipated such a situation might occur on the road, and had already sought a life-saving measure from the divine vine in advance. This life-saving measure could not only save his own life, but also protect everyone traveling with him. Jiang Xuan raised his right hand high and shouted, "Everyone, don't panic, the vine god is here." Everyone looked at Jiang Xuan's right arm and saw a lush green vine wrapped around it, previously inconspicuous, now beginning to emit a green glow. Buzz! The vine unwound circle by circle from Jiang Xuan's right arm, then rose above everyone's heads, growing larger and larger, like a giant green dragon twisting in air. Meanwhile, in the vine tribe by the Feiyu River, the divine vine on Stone Mountain suddenly erupted with a terrifying aura, causing all creatures within the territory to feel a deep fear. A mysterious connection was established between the divine vine on Stone Mountain and the distant vine. In the forest far away, the warriors of the Scorpion tribe, who were shouting excitedly, stopped when they saw the massive vine suddenly appear, realizing the situation had changed. Threak, threak, threak. Even the giant scorpion god stared intently at that enormous vine, feeling great pressure. It's the vine god. The vine god is protecting us. The warriors of the vine tribe cheered. Seeing the totem god, their fear vanished, and they became extremely excited. This is the guardian god of the vine tribe. Huameng also felt somewhat stimulated. The totem god of the vine tribe seemed very powerful, certainly able to protect them. At that moment, the vine in the sky moved. It suddenly straightened, then fiercely struck towards the giant scorpion god. Snap! The speed of the vine was truly too fast, like a green lightning bolt, and by the time the giant scorpion god reacted, it had already been hit. Crack, crack, crack! The giant scorpion god was directly flung out, breaking several large trees, then fell heavily to the ground. Luckily, its shell was hard enough. Otherwise, it would have been seriously injured. Clap, clap, clap. Subsequently, the massive vine whipped frantically, and large patches of trees snapped in half. The big scorpions and warriors of the Scorpion tribe were lashed into cries of despair, scattering and fleeing, their earlier arrogance gone. Threak, threak, threak. The giant scorpion god got up. Having suffered such a loss, it was extremely angry, its huge pincers continuously snapping, wanting to kill all the warriors of the vine tribe in retaliation. However, at that moment, it felt a terrifying presence from the direction of the vine tribe targeting it. If it dared to kill, that presence would definitely come to slay. The giant scorpion god looked at the vine in the sky and then at the warriors of the vine tribe, ultimately holding back from attacking and instead turning to leave. Retreat, retreat. Chapter 275, Frog Tribe Settles Down, Malachite 2. Once the giant scorpion god departed, the Scorpion tribe leader shouted, prompting those warriors and large scorpions to flee in a panic, vanishing without a trace in an instant. The Frog tribe members, who were despairing just moments ago, suddenly realized that the enemy had completely retreated, and for a moment, they were unsure of what to do. The Frog tribe, which looked up at the massive vine, muttering to himself, "Such a powerful guardian god. Perhaps Huameng's choice was correct." Having witnessed the might of the vine tribe's totem god firsthand, the Frog tribe witch's thoughts finally began to change. After the Scorpion tribe retreated, the enormous vine in the sky again shrank, then re-wrapped itself around Jiang Xuan's right arm. Everyone looked at Jiang Xuan with even more reverence, as even the totem god was adorned on his body. Jiang Xuan hadn't expected a single vine to have such formidable power. He realized that after devouring the totem gods of several small tribes continuously, along with a massive amount of blood and flesh sacrifices, the divine vine's strength had become unfathomable, far exceeding the normal totem gods of small tribes. With this thought, Jiang Xuan felt even more confident. Continue forward. Riding ahead on Crescent, Jiang Xuan led the way, with the Vine Tribe warriors and Frog Tribe members quickly following, leaving behind a forest devastated by the divine vine. Deep within the Vine Tribe, The divine vine also settled down once more, retracting all its glow, shrouding Stone Mountain with a thin mist. For the remainder of the journey, Jiang Xuan and his party encountered no further dangers. 10 days later, they successfully escorted the Frog Tribe members to the towering vine wall of the Vine Tribe. Returning to the territory of the Vine Tribe, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. The next step was to arrange the settlement for the Frog Tribe. According to the previous agreement, the Frog Tribe could choose a piece of land in the forest south of the Vine Tribe for residence. Of course, this residence couldn't be too far from the Vine Tribe. Otherwise, it would be difficult to receive protection from the Vine Tribe. Huang Meng and the Frog Tribe, which spent 2 days walking through the forest south of the Vine Tribe, eventually deciding to settle down at the downstream of the Feiyu River, adjacent to the Vine Tribe's territory. With the location selected, the Frog Tribe members immediately began constructing homes. As the Frog Tribe became the first affiliated tribe of the Vine Tribe, Jiang Xuan paid particular attention to this matter. Thus, he dispatched a group of warriors with construction experience to assist them in felling trees and building houses, helping them settle down sooner. At the same time, Qi Xiao made a trip to the new settlement of the Frog Tribe and applied mineral paints to draw the Vine Tribe's totem pattern at several prominent locations around their residence. The purpose of these totem patterns was to announce to other tribes that the Frog Tribe was under the protection of the Vine Tribe. If anyone had thoughts about doing something to the Frog Tribe, they should first consider whether they could withstand the wrath of the Vine Tribe. Quickly, with the help of the Vine Tribe, the Frog Tribe settled into their new residence. Near their new home, there was an abundance of prey and various edible plants, and the Frog Tribe had a relatively small population. They wouldn't need to go hungry anymore. Moreover, they could go to the Vine Tribe's trading zone to acquire what they needed through trade. Soon, the Frog Tribe members no longer resisted becoming an affiliated tribe, as their relocation brought them tangible benefits. The giant frogs of the Frog Tribe also regained a suitable environment for survival. As long as everything proceeded smoothly, given the frogs' reproductive ability, within 2 years, the Frog Tribe would once again possess a large number of giant frogs that could aid in hunting and combat. In March, the weather grew warmer and warmer. The plants in the forest were growing wildly, and various animals were entering their breeding season. Neither tribespeople from various tribes nor wanderers needed to worry about starving to death. On March 5th, a wanderer, using some vine and leaves, wrapped a special item and walked into the Vine Tribe's trading zone. He headed straight to the shop that traded grains and salt, cautiously looked around, then placed the item on the table made from giant wood. Dong Kuei was in charge of the grain and salt shop. After some experience, she appeared increasingly competent. Dong Kuei looked at the item tightly wrapped on the table and remained calm, as she had encountered such scenarios numerous times. Wanderers were relatively timid and lacked self-protection abilities. So, whenever they found something that could be traded, they would wrap it tightly like this to prevent it from being seen and snatched away. Dong Kuei politely asked according to Jiang Xuan's instructions. "Hello, may I open it to see what's inside?" The wanderer nodded nervously and looked outside again, ensuring no one had entered, then began unwrapping the vines and leaves layer by layer, revealing a stone about the size of a palm with beautiful green marking patterns. The green circular patterns resembled the markings on the tail feathers of certain bird species. Very pretty. "How much beast meat is this stone worth?" The wanderer looked at Dong Kuei in anticipation. Dong Kuei picked up the stone and observed it carefully for a moment. She found it very attractive, but hadn't seen it before, so she couldn't estimate its value. Just then, Jiang Xuan came by for his inspection of the trading zone, and Dong Kuei immediately invited him inside through the doorway. "What's the matter?" Jiang Xuan entered and first glanced at the wanderer before turning to look at Dong Kuei. Dong Kuei said, "Leader, there's a stone here that's quite beautiful. This wanderer wants to trade it for beast meat, but I haven't seen this type of stone before, and I don't know if it's useful."